Because you got powerful legs. How did you get the physique? Was it gym or how did you get the physique?
I've always been.
She's actually not got powerful legs. Do you shower in your dressing room? Do you have a shower on the day of a fight or not? Tell us about the tattoos.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
But then I've got the Phoenix.
Hey, prick.
So I'll take it from Bob every day of the week.
Absolute disgrace.
That's your no it'll mind.
Move him out of here, Darren.
Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual
I never said that.
Both have been rape victims. I'm not watching Frank Buglioni live on Saturday night. You're out of your mind.
Jesus Christ, get yourself a life.
He's actually a priest.
Yeah.
It's because his brother John Fury eye gouged him.
What have I told you all this time? He's going to end up sucked out, fucked out, looking for a handout.
Boxing nutters messenger group. I'm gonna be the king.
J-Pump. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome, everybody, to the 544th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse, part of the Sports Social Network. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on YouTube, we're in all the best places that you could possibly find us. Only places where you will find good and wholesome content for the entire family. With us today, Andy Patterson, Steve Wellings. I'm your host, Matt DiGianardo. A lot of action going on this weekend. Don't think any of it was really happening on y'all shores, but we had some American stuff. We had some Australian stuff. We'll go to Australia first. Tszyu taking a 12-round unanimous decision over Brian Mendoza. Not really able to drop Mendoza. Was able to hurt him a few times. Mendoza, I'm guessing he probably took, given the scorecards of 116, 111, 116, 112, 117, 111, probably on two of those, I think he probably got he was probably even in the first half of the fight. And then Tszyu just turned it up. 7 through 11, landed hard shots, basically bossed it, took the 12th round off. He was apparently wide enough to get away with that there. I had him just a little narrower at 115 to 113. But Andy, I thought Tszyu did pretty well, and I mean Mendoza, man, he can take a freaking shot, that's for sure. But Tszyu, I mean, he's a good pressure fighter. He's not throwing a lot, but he's always in position, and he seems to be able to kind of halt your motion as he so chooses.
Yeah, I was saying to Steve, and I think it was maybe Aussie during probably Friday or Thursday that I was looking at the weigh-in. Friday it was, sorry, I was looking at the weigh-in of these two. Actually, Mendoza looked like in proper good shape, whereas I thought that maybe Tszyu was maybe kind of looking not so much frail, but looking a wee bit thin at the weight. I just begin to wonder now as well as if he's beginning to drag it a little bit. You know, he is 28 now at this point. But that said, he fights like a fighter who maybe like conserves energy and then picks it up probably down the back half. I mean, he starts not so much slow, but he doesn't really kind of do much. He maybe puts a few jabs out there, looks for the right hand, but the action was kind of like a wee bit kind of like repeat. You know, Mendoza's hand speed I thought was a wee bit kind of underrated. He was trying to fire back, especially in the kind of early half of the fight. But for me, I think the key was round 7. Once we got to that point in the fight, I think it was pretty much domination by Tszyu because he landed 2 quick right uppercuts in succession, actually, and it really kind of hurt Mendoza a wee bit. He was kind of like covering up, and Tszyu really turned up the heat a little bit, pushed him back, but obviously he kind of seen it out a little bit in that as well. So then he started kind of bringing the left hand into play in that as well. Complaining about a low blow that was pretty borderline. I think you could probably have seen that, probably called, I suppose. But you seen the response by Tszyu in that as well in that 10th round when he got hit with that kind of supposed low blow. He just went straight on the attack, trying to kind of take Mendoza out of there and really kind of punished him. Really put him on the back foot. So yeah, look, decent performance. You know, he finished the fight out strong, Tszyu that is, and he was, you know, pushing for a stoppage. But fair play to Mendoza in that as well. I don't think he's even been dropped actually. I think in his pro career, and he did take a bit of shellacking in the kind of latter half of that fight. So fair play to him for seeing it out in that as well. Tried his best, but ultimately probably just outgunned. Really, I think. I'm not one to kind of like tempt fate, but it would be interesting to see, you know, what type of shape Tszyu would look like at 160, because obviously he'd be putting a wee bit more muscle. In terms of his output might increase a little bit, and it would be interesting to see how his power would look at 160 and that as well. Whether it increase would have the same effect, who knows? But certainly he isn't the kind of one hitter, as we all know that, but he does accumulate a lot of hard shots, and then he does lay on a bit of a beating. And it has been a bit of detriment to himself, actually. I think he fought a Japanese guy a few fights back and that as well, hurt his hands trying to take him out of there. So maybe he's learned a little bit in that as well, to hold back, saying, look, tonight's not the night. But he's just try and kind of, you know, see it out and just get the 12-round decision.
Yeah, Mendoza is sturdy. I mean, and, you know, he basically lost every round to Ramos, and he was losing basically every second to Fundora until he landed that bomb. I mean, he can stand in there and take it, that's for sure. And I think he's gotten better in the last few years, but nonetheless, it was he's one of those guys that you know, I know he got the win over Fundora and that made him interim or whatever, but he's a good gatekeeper. He's not a champion. I hate saying that about anyone, but that would be my assessment. MB saying Tim Tszyu's wife was doing my head in, screaming at ringside as well, annoying as fuck. Steve probably giving Carl Froch fucking PTSD fucking flashbacks from what he experienced during his career. But unlike the lovely Mrs. Froch, it seems that Timmy likes him a little bit thicker and maybe even a little more obnoxious.
I know, man. But she endears Mrs. Wellington even more to me after hearing her screeching at ringside. My God, could you put up with that? Like, but buoyed on by a wife who loves a high-pitched screech, we often hear the ringside screeches, and she's got a foul mouth on him as well. She came in the ring before.
She would ask, she would ask you, Steve. She'd be like, "Why do you like when I give you blowjobs so much more than regular sex?" And you're just like, well, fuck. Kind of stuck there. That'd be the end of the blowjobs.
I'm not going to fight Tim Tszyu for his wife anyway. I'd say she'd knock you out quick enough. But back to matters in the ring. I think I like Tszyu. I was a fan of his dad, I've said before. So obviously it's sort of passed on to the next generation now. I think he has a really nice jab. Stylistically, he slides off. He makes the opponents fall short. He was walking forward. I noticed a little bit last night. I'm not sure if he's done this before, but he did against Terrell Gaucher in the first round without moving his hands. He did that in quite a few of the rounds, especially early on, which led Steve Farhood to give a few of the rounds to Mendoza. I thought that was quite frustrating. I'm not sure whether he was just trying to lull Mendoza into a false sense of security or whether he was being a bit lazy. But yeah, I like the activity. I like him when he's throwing his shots. And he definitely was controlling the ring. Doesn't get flustered. Nice little defense under his belt. Mendoza is absolutely tough as old boots. Really tough guy. He's got a hell of a chin. Don't think he's been down, as you mentioned. There is always that chance he can knock you out in any round now. Very dangerous. I love the choice from Tszyu to go after this kind of guy. But I think we have to maybe reassess Mendoza, and you kind of touched upon it as well. He was getting the shit beaten out of him for most of the time against Fundora before he landed that Hail Mary punch. Ramos, who recently lost to Lubin, dominated him for a lot of the rounds as well. So we kind of know what Mendoza is, and we'll see afterwards whether that was his one moment. I know he knocked out Rosario. Rosario's a decent guy, can definitely punch, but has shown weaknesses to chin and body in the past. To a certain level, Mendoza will be tough. He will be very dangerous, but the top guys, as Tszyu is, are going to deal with him. I don't know where we're going to see him next. I don't think the Charlo fight's going to happen. Crawford fight could happen if it goes on for that long. Crawford might see Tszyu as the kind of guy to fight, but he wants to go to Las Vegas now. He said, let's get the Aussies over there. Bit of a Ricky Hatton moment, and he deserves it. He's had a hell of a year. He beat Tony Harrison, no slouch, stopped him, absolutely blasted Ocampo, took out the trash, as Andy said. And the end of 2023, his final fight against Mendoza. 3 fights in 1 year is absolutely amazing activity for guys these days. He just beat Mendoza black and blue, so we can't fault him for that either. He's 28 years of age. He did look thin, as Andy said, at the weight. If he's going to move on up, fighting against the likes of Adames would be class. But yeah, he's got the WBO belt now. Let's get him to Vegas, get those American promoters going, and see what he's made of. Because I don't think he'll duck anybody. I don't think he'll beat them all, but I think he will fight them all.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting if he could somehow get a win over both Charlo brothers, if he could somehow make that happen. That'd be curious. I actually kind of have a worry, though, fighting them, because there's something I saw. You know, he does pretty good at, like, picking his distance. You know, he doesn't just cram himself in there, he'll get in a shot and then kind of get out. But when he gets out, Steve, he kind of tends to drop his glove and try to hide behind his shoulder a bit more. And I think a taller fighter with a good straight right hand could definitely catch him going straight out.
Yeah, that was the kind of slide off I was referring to. He did that a few times. Klitschko used to do that. And against the likes of Mendoza, who's a bit flat-footed at times, he's able to get away with it. But as you said, the sort of fast, slicker boxers, maybe like a Charlo throwing that, lobbing that right hand over the top might catch him, sort of napping on that one. But I don't know. I just think at times last night he maybe thought Mendoza had nothing to offer him, which was possibly arrogance or something, or maybe just overconfidence. I want to check the scores, actually. They don't seem to have them on BoxRec. I thought one of the judges was announced as 116, 111, unless
one of them was. And I think, well, there was one of those rounds where he gave him a pretty good whooping. I guess you might have 10-8'd it if you wanted to, but I personally, I don't think that anything qualified for that. So
no, okay, fair enough.
Just my position. Andrew Thickett said, Aussie women have evolved near dingoes. Loudness is a defense mechanism. I like that one. Yeah, you might win the internet today, Andrew. But yeah, he might not have anything left at 154, Andy. Maybe not, maybe does, maybe doesn't. What next few fights would you like to see for him? If he had another 3-fight year, you know, you could wave your magic wand and that happens for him in 2024. Well, what 3 guys are you wanting to see him face?
Well, I'm going to discount Charlo because I think after what we saw in his last fight, I wouldn't even say he's got as much for the sport these days, to be fair. Interestingly, actually, if Fundora had actually won his fight against Mendoza, I wonder if it would actually been Fundora fighting Tszyu there last night, and whether we got a different outcome. But I like to see maybe Tszyu fight an Erickson Lubin. Kind of roughly about the same height. Who else? I mean, 54 is a wee bit like 60 getting these days. It's getting a bit thin, or it could be wide open just for the right person.
I thought, even though I won money off of it, I thought that Ramos won that fight against Lubins. I actually think that Tszyu against Ramos could be an interesting style matchup, especially if Ramos learned that he's got to kind of push the tempo a little bit more. That could turn that into a good fight.
I don't know whether they'd take that, Andy, because Lubin won. I think they'd take Lubin quicker because, like you said, a lot of us thought Ramos maybe won. If he's learnt the mistakes from the last time and still brings the same skill set but with a bit more aggression, I think he's a hard fight for anybody, Ramos. I think he'll come back stronger from that Lubin loss.
Definitely. What about the Xander Zayas fight? Any's interested in Tszyu fighting him? I mean, he's quite highly ranked with the BO as well.
Well, he's top rank, isn't he, though? And Tszyu signed to the PBC, so it's just like...
But yeah, magic wand. I mean, if you want that fight, I feel like that fight might just be a little early for Zayas next year. He needs a little bit more seasoning, my personal opinion. He's still really young. He's 20 or 21 now, I think.
As I say, so it is hard to kind of get. I mean, fights is going to like float your boat. There's no really many of them there, to be fair. Milan Pratt, I think he's possibly a Croatian. I think he
just lost.
Did he lose last night? I know he was fighting last night.
Did he lose to Spoma? Oh,
yeah.
What happened? Yeah, what was the result?
Spoma knocked him out, apparently. Fucking. So Joe Kennedy and I were bullshitting, and I said, yeah, I hedged it. I took Pratt by knockout, and then Spomer by decision. And then he's like, that's funny. I took Pratt on points. So obviously none of those happened.
The
German fucking knocked him out. Yeah.
I'm looking for the actual result. There's nothing up on boxing scene or anything like that yet. Jesus Christ, I need to go and Google that. Go to Twitter for that one. Right? Well, that's an upset. So that's him losing his ranking. But whatever. I mean, I'm not want to see. Would you want to see Josh Kelly fight Tim Tszyu? I mean, does that move the needle for any? No, it's not moving.
No, I honestly think that Tszyu's above that level. He should be fighting champ. He is a champion now. You know, he's elevated.
That's Charlo though. He's the undisputed champion. So
he's not undisputed now. He is not undisputed now. They stripped him after the Canelo fight.
Yeah, Tszyu's got the WBO now. Sorrow's being mentioned. I think he would fit in a Josh Kelly too if he's going to fight 3 times a year. Sorrow, maybe Madrimov, somebody like that, because he will keep
Madrimov
active.
is an interesting fight. Steve, go ahead. That's an interesting fight that you said that. Madrimov is.
Is he with DAZN though? I think he might be with DAZN. I don't know.
Well, god damn it!
I know. You have to take this into account. I know that people don't like to hear it, but it's the reality, isn't it? I mean, we can say all we want. Oh, fuck the politics. Yeah, but the politics are very much a reality of boxing, unfortunately. You have to take it into consideration that these guys will not put them in against one another for love nor money because they're trying to protect their asset. So we have to accept that the likes of Josh Kelly will probably get pushed forward quicker because he's already lost. Well, I think he's lost twice, has he? Once, I don't know.
And he's based Ireland as well, isn't he? That's his promoter these days, isn't it?
There are some kind of caveats with that, though. Like, we've seen Oscar willing to work with PBC to get some of his guys up there. And I also think that DAZN is going to start turning the screws on the promoters that work under them, like to make fights that matter between their respective fighters. Because it is a shame, especially I look like at a division like 135, and you just wonder how all these pieces fit together, and they're in different places. Unfortunately, I mean, I know that's not the fight at hand, but it's just a pretty fair example. Like we'll probably never see William Zepeda against any of the PBC guys, and that's a shame, man. I would love to see that guy winging punches against any of them. Give him a shot. Probably won't catch it though. But anyhow. Tszyu, where does he go from here? We shall see, but it is stateside, he said. He's done fighting in Australia for the time being. He's headed over this way. I don't know if that's living or training or both, so we shall see. Also on that card, hell of a fun fight. Cards be damned between Sam Goodman and Miguel Flores, where they were both just winging shots. Goodman definitely getting the better of it, but Miguel Flores working the body. A little bit of a heavy-handed referee taking a few points away from him on that one, unfortunately, too. Also, an 8th-round knockdown scored by Goodman. And really what was just a fantastic fight. Great style matchup for this featherweight scrap right here. Flores has been in with any number of the good 122, 126 fighters of recent years. But Andy, Steve, I can't remember if either of you guys said that you caught this one. But Sam Goodman, interesting fighter at 126. This was obviously somewhat of a PBC card. I think that him against Figueroa would be a hell of a scrap.
I'll jump in quickly. I didn't see the fight, but I wanted to watch this one. I didn't see a whole lot of anything over the weekend, as you well know, for various reasons. But I do like Goodman. I think he's really maturing in his fight against Asylum. He looked very good. He beat TJ Dehaney before that as well. And
he's on a good run.
He's on a really good run. He's 15-0. He throws a lot of punches. Very exciting. This Flores is no slouch, like you said. I know he got knocked out by Eduardo Ramirez, but he went the distance for Santa Cruz. It was a bit of a snoozer. Drew with Abner Mares and he's come back. I know Mares had the eye problems and he was a bit fat and all, but Flores is no slouch. So I would have watched this. I'm not going to say I'm going to go back and watch it because I won't. But I do like Goodman, and I'm being intrigued to see the way they push him up because he's top 10 with a few of the bodies now as well, and he's doing good work over there in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, the PBC connection is good. I think a fight between him and Figueroa would just be fireworks, from bell to bell. I tend to see him trying to fight Figueroa as a bigger guy and getting worn down, but nonetheless, fun while it lasts, I would imagine. Joining us, Rob Kelly. Rob, did you catch Timmy? Rob.
It's the I, the M, the Y, the T, the M is Timmy. Yeah, I did actually. He's pretty. Yeah, I expected Mendoza. Actually, we had a sneaky feeling that Mendoza might have been able to pull off an upset. I know I wasn't on last week, so I didn't get to give the insights into it. But you have to say about Tszyu at this stage that he's been well matched, yes, but anytime he's moved up in opposition, he's dealt with him accordingly. He didn't stop Mendoza, but I don't think Mendoza's even been dropped, has he? So he was doing some good work. I mean, it wasn't exactly a breakout statement performance, but a solid win against a solid guy, and he never looked in trouble. And him and Charlo was a real fight. I think Bud Crawford's probably chasing that Canelo payday at the moment, and maybe the Charlo fight's not there. Charlo Charlo Crawford I prefer, but if we can't get that, Tim Tszyu versus Charlo, great fight. And to be honest with you, I don't think Charlo's going to run to fight Tim Tszyu either. I think he's a real problem for anyone there at 54. He's kind of established himself now as a top guy. I guess what he really needs is that definitive win to fully mark himself as world class. But yeah, good guy, man. Fucking exciting style. He's made the transition from Australia to America pretty seamlessly. And big fight. He's a big draw. He has the history. He's definitely a name to shake things up at 54. And if we're doing Sons of Legends, maybe Conor Benn might want to move up to 54 and take some of that smoke off Tim Tszyu if he can't get the Charlo fight. That'd be something I'd watch. But yeah, I'm all on board the Tim Tszyu hype train. I've been a little bit hesitant thus far just to see what he's like as he's moved along. But he was unleashing fucking serious shots last night. Mendoza has serious fucking beard as well, by the way. Holy fuck. The uppercut he hit him with, I thought he was after switching the lights out and he just kind of shook it off. Face looked fucking marked up. And Tszyu, good off the jab, good range of punches, super confident. It is what you want to see, isn't it? And he seems to want to call out everybody as well in the division. He's looking for big fights. So, yeah, no problem with Tim Tszyu, man. Good fighter.
Well, his old man wasn't scared of shit either. So he grew up with the right idea of what a fighter is supposed to do, I believe.
Do you think he'll surpass his old man?
No.
He has a bit of beef with the old man, doesn't he? They don't... There's no relationship, I don't think.
Actually, funny you mentioned that, actually, because I forget who it was, Steve. I remember there was a listener, actually, and he left a note in the comments about us talking about his dad and that, because that kind of came up. So I started looking into it, and apparently the old man wanted to go back to Russia and stay, right? So he took the family back with him, and then the kids were like, and the wife hated it, so they came back to Australia, but he wanted to stay there, and he's got his own personal chauffeur, he's got his own servant, all that type of stuff. That lives like a king out there.
Well, let's not cost you for ideas like that. I don't necessarily think that's...
I think he's also got remarried and that as well, eh?
Yeah, they're divorcing. During the height of his career, he was spending big, long swaves in America, training, fighting, etc. And the kids weren't around. And I think there's a bit of bitterness and resentment as well. But I don't think he might have been to one of Tim's fights, but that's it, like one or two at the most. He doesn't go to the arena or watch them or anything.
Dude, I mean, in all fairness, I'd be awfully fucking pissed off if somebody took me away from the Gold Coast to fucking Russia. I would be appalled. There's just no fucking forgiving you on that one. The
weird thing is, Tszyu actually left Russia because, in his words, there was no food. So he fucking goes back. No food for you, aye.
Well, there's always food no matter where you are in the world if you have money. That's the thing that you learn. So yeah, there's plenty of everything you want wherever you go if you're Tszyu at this point in time.
I know my question about the relative legacies was a bit of a sort of facetious one, Matty. Obviously, I'm a Kostya fan. It would do a lot to overcome his record, but if you start to dissect them and Timmy starts to get a couple of wins under his belt, I don't think it would be as far away from one another as you might think.
I say that because I really like him as a fighter, but I see some faults that I think are going to be exploited. I don't think it's going to be for lack of trying. I think it's going to be for lack of ability.
Which Kostya had as well.
I think him and Spence would be a great fight.
Yeah.
Spence probably hadn't been fucking decimated, but in normal circumstances, I think that would have been a good fight.
See the thing with Tszyu, we haven't really seen him under severe pressure, having to fight through the fire when he's either hurt, been dropped, behind on the cards as such, that wee bit of adversity to say, aye, okay, he has, and in times of difficulty, he has got it, he can turn it round.
Against Gosha, he did a little bit, didn't he? But couldn't get knocked down. That was his American debut, live on Showtime, big build-up in a main event, got knocked down in the first round. He did come back from a bit of diversity there.
Give him that one, I suppose. But
here's a trivia question for you. So Tszyu's been knocked down 2 times in his career. Who's the other guy who knocked him down? Besides Gaucher.
Oh, they mentioned this on one of the broadcasts in the last fight. It wasn't Brubaker, was it? But it was one of them. Was it one of them Australian rivals?
His name is Wade Ryan, who
won last night.
Another upset victory. He's 21-11 or 22-11 probably now. Beat a 19-1 fighter, Sergey Verebev. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, he dropped Tim in one of his. I think it's like in his first 5 fights. I think it was somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting guy.
I think
that
those
Wade Ryan.
flaws and deficiencies, Matty, will make for excitement with you. I think he's a knockout waiting to happen at some point, isn't he? Because he's so reckless at times, and that's going to only be for the fun of the fans because he's going to be in good fights, I think.
Oh yeah, I think that whatever happens to him, it'll be in an incredible fight, and it'll probably be late in the fight.
Yeah,
But it's going to be one of those. He's going to be in a fight of the year contest.
Yeah,
before it's said and done,
and he might get banged out in it, but it'll be fun while it lasts.
Mm-hmm. I actually think him and Crawford would be a fun fight. I don't think Crawford's interested in it, but I think it would be a fun fight because Tszyu is there so much to be hit. And although he's the bigger, probably heavier puncher at the end of the day, which is saying a lot because Crawford can bang, I just think that accuracy would kind of wear down on him. I think it would be a more physical Marquez Diaz 1, personally.
Well, let's hope so. That'd be great.
One of my favorite fights of all time, Steve. Anyhow, I digress. Have we done punches for the past on that one? I could talk about that fight like crazy.
No, we done.
What fight was that?
Oh no, I think we did actually, didn't we? Marquez Diaz.
First fight?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we did do that, didn't we? Did we?
Don't think so, no. It might be on the list, mate.
Yeah, if not, yeah, I'll be with that. That's one of my favorite fights.
Well, as Sean Porter says, we either did or we didn't. It's going to be one or the other matter.
Yeah. Well, it all depends on how our record keeping is, Steve. We'll find out. Might be a dual episode. Anyhow, moving on. Rob, I don't know what you caught off of that Australia card. Let me ask you real quick before I keep moving here.
Hold on. William McAllister said, I think Kostya cheated on their man with a younger Russian woman and moved back to Russia. Stay nothing. Fucking big mouth.
Spreading the man's secrets. But Rob, did you catch anything else on that card besides Tim?
I didn't.
Okay.
What else was on it? Oh, maybe I did.
All right.
I was watching the real fights. KSI versus Tommy Fury. Dylan Dennis and these kind of characters. This is the shit I'm into on a Saturday night. No, yeah. I wasn't watching any of that shit either, to be honest with you, but
this honestly, it was a good card. I already touched on Goodman versus Miguel Flores. Really good fight. Check it out if you get a chance. And then there was a 130-pound scrap that was in the Boxing Nutters Prediction League between Nathaniel May and Jackson John England. The winner of this fight is set to fight Liam Wilson, and that ended up being John England in a split decision in what was a fantastic 10-round contest. I started able to catch it at round 4. The card was running a little late, so the Showtime telecast jumped on in there instead of talking for the next 40 minutes. Praise be. And I was just treated to a fantastic fight. Didn't catch the first few rounds, which apparently England probably did pretty well in, because May took it on in the in the middle rounds, did really well. Then England was thrown on late. 10th round, both guys were hurt, landing big punches. I don't think it's fight of the year, kind of, but it's definitely an honorable mention. Great fun fight. Anyone that didn't catch it, Nathaniel May, Jackson John England.
The two of them sound like characters from a fucking boxing game from the 80s, don't they? Nathaniel May versus fucking Jackson John England. Sounds like Mike Tyson's Punch Out or some shit like that.
Or sailors in a Robert Louis Stevenson novel. But anyway, so the winner against Liam Wilson looks to be happening. That should be a really good fight. Looking forward to that one. And that, again, was Jackson John England. So England against Wilson. Probably seeing that first half next year in Oz. That should probably be worth tuning in for all of the hardcores out there. Now, jumping over stateside. We had a middleweight unification fight that nobody seemed to give a fuck about, with Janibek Alimkhanuly taking out Vincenzo Gutierrez in the 6th round. The referee taking mercy upon his poor soul, proving that he had nothing.
He took out the trash. That's what he did.
It's the great uppercuts, that sweeping left hand. Now Alimkhanuly holds the IBF and the WBO belt. I just don't know where he goes from here, Andy. What do you think?
Who, Janibek?
Yeah, I don't care about the
mate. I'm telling you right now where he goes.
Altieri.
I'm telling you right now where he goes, mate. Janibek has got probably the freest pass of any boxer right now to go and unify, undisputed of any division right now. Middleweight is complete and utter devoid of proper challengers. I
Of
think
middleweights.
Aye, basically that as well, mate. Proper challengers. I think Janibek, I mean, obviously we said it last week. That fight went exactly how we expected it to go. We all said Galtieri was the weak champion. Lara's still kicking about with other belt. Charlo, well, I think he's got a fight arranged, but that Carlos Adams
finally.
fight, aye, but
wrong. They're both going to fight this year.
That Carlos Adams fight might be a wee bit more kind of interesting that as well. Golovkin's...
They're talking about Canelo against Carlos Adames next, Andy. That's one of what they're talking about. One of fucking Canelo's 3 fights is Adames, who is a very good fighter. But I've seen the sparring footage of Bud against Adames. Again, I want to see Bud against Canelo. But continue.
No worries. Yeah, as I say, he's probably got one of the easiest passes. I mean, there is some good fight. We've got the young kid Elijah Garcia coming up through the ranks and that as well, but he's only, 20, 21 at this point. He's just recently turned 20, so you still got Finney Feigenboots, the man, Austin Williams kicking about. So no great challengers coming up the back end there. Zarafa still ranked top highly in that as well. But I think Janibek, based off that last night, he has got... It's down to him really, and it's down to the politics and that as well, unfortunately as well. But he could... I'm not going to say easily, but I would put him, as the main guy of the division and the future undisputed champion. I just don't think there's anybody else there at that point that it can potentially challenge him. That's just my opinion. I honestly think I don't think there's anybody in that division that can touch him just now.
Yeah, again, it would be interesting to see if a guy like Tszyu maybe moved up, but it's a shame again, Steve. We're talking politics here.
But you're also dragging fighters up in weight in that as well, and you're like, well, you want to see him kind of have a couple of tests at the new weight before he starts saying he deserves a title shot,
Yeah, sure, but I mean, if it's a known champion moving up, there's not necessarily a reason for them to get settled in the weight. We know their quality, we know their class. I say let him get in there, but I mean, we can't make the fight with Lara, can't make the fight against Charlo. He's got something going on in November. Lara, they're still talking about fighting Danny Garcia, so he's just Alimkhanuly is kind of out there, swimming on his boat in the lake of his choosing it now. There's nothing around him.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with him. The middleweight division is one of the sort of flag bearers of the sport. It has been, but recently they're just all moving up to get to Canelo, and it's kind of a bit of a wasteland since Triple G disappeared and Canelo moved off, and Charlo has been keeping the belt while completely inactive. We were asked the question last week, or I did, as far as I can remember, was Gualtieri selling out his belt, or was he coming over because he was confident he could win? It felt to me like there was a deal in place with the promoters. I think it was July, he won the belt against Falcao. Looked decent. Falcao had never really beaten anybody. And he just looked absolutely spooked from the beginning. He was slow of his hand, of foot. He couldn't get out the way of the jab. Janibek punches pretty hard. Does he punch as hard as Triple G? I don't know. The occasion might have got to Gualtieri. He didn't quit as such. He wanted to carry on. He got knocked down. He said that the fight was stopped a bit early. I think it was just absolutely one-way traffic. He couldn't offer anything. And he didn't even have the proverbial puncher's chance either. Janibek, as I said, nice jab, little uppercut, beautiful left uppercut on the inside. Gualtieri was so cagey. And as Andy said, you just take those guys out. No point in following them around, which he has done in the past. The slicksters might give him trouble. Denzel Bentley gave him a lot of trouble. Whether the likes of... we saw him going against Dignam, Butler. They stood in front of him. They weren't able to offer anything. He absolutely bangs you out. Anyone who's a little bit trickier might give him a few problems, but now he's got 2 belts. His pay scale is going to go up, as one of the boys in the chat said. The crowd looked absolutely dire. Not sure why they put it on in there. There was like one person and their dog, few Kazakhstan flags flying about. He's trying his best to be a bit of a mean bastard. He's going the sort of angrier route than Triple G did, the kind of nice broken English route. So just get him in with these other guys. I'm looking at the box live rankings here at the moment. Golovkin's still ranked with them, but I think he's pretty much retired. He looks pretty fat from what I can see. Adames is the interim champion, PBC again. Charlo, get him over, get them unified on one of the platforms. Lara, he's PBC, but they're more likely to stick him over. If he stands in front of Janibek, which he probably will, he might... I don't think he's got the legs anymore, Lara, the skillness, the slickness. At his prime, he would have given Janibek hell, I think, but now you could see him picking him off. Felix Cash, who knows what he's doing. Andy mentioned Elijah Garcia. I'd like to see them slow it down a bit with him. He's had some hard fights. He's only 20. He's going to go the Fernando Vargas route at this rate, fighting high-level competition early on and then burning out very quickly. So I don't think he'll be pushed into a title opportunity.
Going to tell Alimkhanuly he's not a real Kazakh.
Well, he might well do, exactly. But yeah, I like old Alimkhanuly, and ESPN are giving him the push and shove treatment as well. So he's skilled, he can punch. Get him in.
It's shit when the middleweight division is shit, isn't it? Like for boxing, because it's always been such a fucking benchmark, like for the greatest fighters of all time. It's fucking shocking. Like Golovkin's still being number 2. Like the fucker's he's about fucking 7-8 years past his prime. Like fucking hell. Maybe 7-8 years is a stretch. Definitely fucking 5 years past his prime. Like fuck me.
Well, can you imagine how far the money he's made in his career goes in Kazakhstan? Like, what's his motivation right now?
Yeah, like Triple G gave me the impression that like he was doing the DAZN signing just for the cash, wasn't it? Like it was the third Golovkin or the third Canelo fight and a truckload of cash to go on a long-term contract while he was like wearing like sunglasses and pink blazers and that. I think he has checked out like after the Canelo, after he got hold in the second Canelo fight, he was like, oh fuck it. After in the first Canelo fight rather, he was like, fuck this shit. Like
yeah, he's kind of had his fill with the sport in a lot of ways, I think. But anyhow, Alimkhanuly moves on to what we do not know. But hopefully it's something interesting. Hopefully they can get away from the politics and make something. I'll tell you what, if that Showtime deal goes out the window, they're going to have to start making something happen.
What do you think they're going to do with him?
I don't have a clue. I was just as indecisive on anything that could happen as you guys. I'd have to go through the rankings and respective and see what makes sense. So, try to get into the mind of Bob. What does a 93-year-old stoned man think with a law background? I don't know. I don't know if I want to take that test. I already feel like a
don't know what he
60-year-old
thinks,
man.
but it's not nice.
Yeah, we ought to ask him about what's happening in the Middle East right now. Bob, what's your opinion? Anyhow,
no, don't go there.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm moving on. 135-pound fight.
But like, why don't you shut up, you little prick?
Right preceding that 135-pound fight, Keyshawn Davis sneaking away with a majority decision over Nahir Albright, who I rate quite highly. Davis just seemed lazy in there. He landed some good shots when he was able to find that overhand right. In the middle, he seemed to take control. And then in the 8th round, he had hurt Nahir Albright. And then right towards the end, he got buzzed pretty good, kind of a la Mayweather against Maidana. 10th round, Davis just didn't seem to try. And then the majority decision happened. He just snuck out of that. Steve, there's something about Davis. He's just as skillful as any fighter I can kind of think of at the time right now. But whatever that extra ingredient is, I just don't think he has it. He's too passive about the whole deal.
Well, I do agree with you on the first part. I think Albright is a decent fighter, and it was quite a high-quality affair because, as the commentary team said, he has someone who could match him for speed, at least early on. I thought it was closer on the cards than it may be warranted. I thought he was a worthy enough winner by a couple of points or so. I just think he's easily led, which might sound like a funny thing to say, but I think he pays attention to too many people around the sport and around his own team. He called himself the businessman, which I think is a tip of the hat to Terence Crawford, who he's sucking off regularly on social media all the time. No greater mentor to have than Crawford. But, he's calling himself the businessman now. He's all about the business of boxing and not getting shafted and all this. He's become very safety averse, very, the risks and all. Like you said, when he was going against the likes of Yigit, which was an early stoppage, at least he was banging him out. Now he's maybe looking a bit too much to Shakur Stevenson, for example, and that safety first, risk averse boxing. Just be who you are, Keyshawn. Come forward, take big right hands on the ropes and go for it and try to finish people off and stop trying to be something that you're not and copy everybody else. That's what I think the problem is. I think he's easily led, Matty.
You could be right. It was, I was very high on him, and it was just, I don't know. I feel like there's something lacking. And especially, Rob, like when you put it in the context of the stacked 135-pound division, like you have to not be missing anything. If you're going to compete at the top with these guys, you can't miss a fucking beat. These guys are absolute killers.
It's a red hot division of fighters who are not fucking fighting each other, so I don't think he has anything to worry about. He could be all right. He could coast for another 2 to 3 years. Yeah, I mean, when you hear about these American prospects, sometimes I think there's a lot of kind of expectation on him and a lot of pressure on their shoulders, and that to be the next kind of American star. He's one that's been kind of touted to follow the path of Shakur Stevenson. Majority decision. I mean, look, you're not going to fucking blow everyone away. You're not going to knock everybody out. Sometimes the guy won't go away, and you learn. He's still very much in the learning stages of his career. There's a lot of talk about him and Andy Cruz down the line, isn't there? Is it Andy Cruz? What's the Cuban guy that turned over that Hearn has?
Yeah, Andy Cruz. Yep.
Yeah, it's Andy Cruz. I think they've been saying that Hearn was bullshit and saying that he'd fight him on his debut and that. Like, but I think that's a fight that could potentially be a star maker one for him. I think obviously different sides of the street, and Eddie's probably using his name to leverage his own fighter's fucking profile, which wouldn't be like him at all, even Ed. But that's actually a fight I'd like to see. It'd be an exciting one. I think they fought in the amateurs, didn't they? And that might bring the best out of him, but I think it was kind of a lackluster showing from him. And he's probably trading off reputation a little bit now. We'll have to see what he's made of. But yeah, super division, he's going to have to be sharp. If he's good enough to come out at the top of that pile, it's probably going to make him a good fighter. I'm not totally convinced on him so far. I'd have to see more of him. I've been a little bit underwhelmed with him, and for me, he hasn't lived up to the hype. But it's early doors; like we have to wait and see.
I'm going the other way because Andy, you remember at the beginning, I was a bit underwhelmed by Keyshawn in the first few fights. And I said, I don't know. And you were saying, no, he's good. And then I started watching him more and I was like, you know what? I've been really impressed with him. I thought he looked excellent. And then just these last couple of fights, again, he's gone that kind of safety first thing. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, but this whole skills pay the bills. I ain't here to get hit, blah, blah, blah. You got to take risks.
I had that kind of same impression as well, mate, the last few fights. I mean, to be fair, I only lasted 6 rounds of that. And I switched it off. It was just boring. I agree with everything what Rob was saying. There just hasn't really transitioned. Isn't really a fan-friendly fighter. And that he's no rushing to really kind of put to go and watch. And that was a chief support really. They're really switching a lot of people off. To be fair,
it's the entertainment industry business, and they act like it's not.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, mate. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like Canelo. I mean, Canelo might not be in like great fights all the time and that, but at least he's kind of like in fights that fans want to see. Okay, there is fights there. You're like, Yildirim, for example, Pish, but by and large, he fights the big-ish fights. We'll give him the credit if he fights Benavidez and that as well. He fought Mayweather, he fought Bivol. Okay, maybe he's a calculated risks and that, but then you got guys like this. Just it'd be interesting to see when they do step him up actually, and what happens to him. In fact, I'm just reading. Was that not a split decision as well that he got awarded there last night, or was that UD?
One of the cards was a draw, wasn't it?
Was it a draw?
95, 95, 96, 94, 97, 93. I think I had it 96, 94 personally.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, just takes 1 or 2 rounds to kind of like go the other way, and you're looking down the barrel of like your first loss in that. So. Also, as well as I do know that is it Bomax obviously just got back into the country and that as well. He's not had him to kind of like train where he's been working obviously with the Crawford team. So maybe that had a wee knock on effect. I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses in that because at the end of the day, you're only as good as your last fight. And to be fair, that was the. Oh, as I say, he's only seen 6 rounds of it, and that was enough for me. To be fair.
I think in these kind of fights as well, and Matty, when it's down to subscription channels and stuff. It maybe not so much, but on pay-per-views, I think it's incumbent upon people to go out there and really go for it. I don't think the skills pay the bills. I'm here to get out of Dodge with all my checks, etc. Shtick, works in that case. If people like you and Americans are laying down $85, I don't think that's good enough. They are literally paying for a transaction to be entertained.
Yeah, and it just that wouldn't fit the bill. Thank God it was just on ESPN. That was the pleasing aspect, and they gave us a lot of fights. It was I passively paid attention. Some of these, I don't even think I wrote down anything for them because I don't think I paid much attention to a lot of what was going on. It was a very long night on the top ranked card, but we'll work our way down the list. I know you guys didn't catch a lot of this, or if any of it, but I sadly did. Had a featherweight fight. Duke Reagan, former Olympian silver medalist, winning a split decision over Jose Perez. Reagan was dropped in the 5th round and struggling. I think that the cards were fair. It kind of could have gone either way based on that knockdown in a round here or there. So Yeah, I don't know that Reagan is the goods.
That was a heavy knockdown by him, and he toiled after he got back up as well. After it, didn't he shake it off immediately either?
Nah, he was working through that even into the next round, certainly. So that might be a liability, especially in a division with some real punchers. 140
See, the
pounds.
thing is, see if you see his box ring picture, you're like, really? You knocked that guy down with that neck? Go check on his box ring picture. Oh, that's the wrong guy. Sorry. Sorry, on you go, mate.
Anyhow, 140-pound fight. Calvin Davis, brother of Keyshawn Davis, taking a kind of boring UD over Narciso Carmona. Also, we had Guido Vianello in a very boring fight against Curtis Harper.
You're hardcore this weekend, you are.
Tim Bradley was even insulting the fight, like saying he was going.
Was
to
that the walkout bout with Harper?
No, it wasn't a walkout bout, but I wouldn't doubt that some people in the arena walked out.
There weren't any left to walk out, were there?
I was waiting to say that, Steve. That was held in the community centre last night. That card.
I think there was more at the card. I was that one.
Exactly. See after the main, see during the main event, I'm kind of like looking at the background and saying, the seats are empty in the back there, up in the bleachers. You've got the Sky Sports lighting crew to try to sort it.
They had a few local ticket sellers they were able to get on there to move some stuff there, but it was nothing too impressive. Let's see here. Also on that card, kid I saw when I was out in Omaha to catch Terrence Crawford last year, Alan Garcia taking a UD over Nelson Hampton. A lot to like about this kid. I think he's working off the rust. He was kind of caught in that whole BLK Prime debacle, promised a lot of different spots, and then none of those cards seemed to materialize. Again, 135-pound fighter. Bradley seemed to like him too. Keep your eye on Alan Garcia. Let's see here. Then another good fighter to check out, 140-pound scrap, Giovanni Marquez, stopping Dante Strayhorn in 2. This kid's got some moves. He's got some pop. He knows how to fight as a shorter guy. Just definitely keep your eye on him too, Giovanni Marquez. And then as well, Andy, your boy, Richard Torres Jr. taking out Tyrell Anthony Herndon in the second round. Fun, kind of smaller heavyweight, puts his shots together well. Dropped Herndon hard, then kind of got him working around him, turned his back, and the referee's like, this is enough of this. But he's a fun fighter, man. Looking forward to him.
Yeah, I feel I'm kind of repeating myself with him, to be fair, because obviously I've been speaking about him since he turned pro, and when you see the power, it does seem to be legit. And again, I'm just repeating it, that we just need to see him tested now. And you look at him technique-wise, doesn't seem to be like the most polished, but my God, he can throw punches, and he says he's got the power. Maybe a kind of minier version of Joe Joyce, I suppose. Just kind of like all action.
He gets a little wide with the feet, doesn't he? Doesn't he seem like a guy's going to be able to step around him a little bit? And
but just need to see him.
Interesting to see him in a big fight down the line. Like it's like you kind of get the feeling that he's a little bit small for the weight, but like, and he's fucking punches like a mule, doesn't he? Like and he hits fellas and they stay hit. It's not like a cumulative.
He's a
damage,
southpaw as well.
That's it. Yeah. No, he's good. Like he seems like when you hear him talking and that, he seems like a fighter that could really fucking sell himself. Like he definitely has the potential to be a crossover star if he keeps knocking people out.
The power is in the mustache, Rob. It's in the mustache.
I mean, he's taking dance.
He looks like a 70s porn star, doesn't he?
Well, he's taking dance lessons in that as well, so you can imagine what he's getting up to doing these extra crypto things,
Have you guys ever seen the movie Hot Rod with Andy Samberg?
No.
If you ever watch it, well, so we'll get here since you want to ask, and I know it's smart ass to leave, I will tell you the basic plot line of it is he is like a shitty small town stuntman, and he learns that his stepdad is going to die if he doesn't get an organ transplant, so he decides he's going to jump a whole bunch of buses to raise the money for the organ transplant with the purpose of saving his stepdad's life just because he wants him to live long enough for him to kick his ass. That's the plot of the fucking movie. It's fantastic. But anyway,
if I'd waited around to hear the rest of that, I would have thought, I'm sure I'd been intrigued.
It's wonderfully stupid, Rob. I highly recommend it. But anyway, if you get a chance to watch it, I've come to the conclusion that Richard Torres Jr. looks like a big Mexican Andy Samberg. But that, I guess, neither here nor there. But please,
didn't he upset Mark Wahlberg years ago, that Samberg kid? And he was like, how about I go and break that guy's nose? He's the fucking same in every movie. Mark Wahlberg, fucking shittiest actor of all time, and he's the fucking same in every film. Say hi to your mother for me.
Dude, I like Marky Mark, man. He was fucking great in Boogie Nights. Watch yourself.
That's his only fucking. He's playing the same character in every movie since. Just stop doing Dirk Diggler's voice in all the fucking films, asshole. It's the fucking same character.
It's either that or talk totally Bostonian like he does in Ted. That's his natural fucking accent. Anyhow,
oh my God.
Anyhow, this is where we're at. We're discussing Mark Wahlberg movies on the Asylum. This is where boxing has led us. Anyhow. Before we move off of that, I just want to reference.
How shitty was that fucking fighter movie, by the way, with the Mickey Ward? They did the Mickey Ward life story and didn't put the Arturo Gatti fucking.
Exactly, and the thing is as well is
movie.
Why did they put a guy that looks like a super middleweight rather than a guy that looks like a lightweight or a light welterweight even?
Marky Mark wearing his Calvin Klein's like, hey, I'm Mickey Ward. I'm doing this movie. Arturo's not going to be in this one. Fuck this movie. I fucking waited the whole movie to fucking see the guy.
Exactly. I was the same. I was fuming. Where's the guy story?
Neri is the fucking... Neri, that's the pinnacle of Mickey Ward's life. Fuck off, man. Anyway, sorry.
I don't watch that one. I just continuously watch The Great White Hype and play it to the bone. So, anyhow. Let's see here. Well, before getting off of that card, I don't know if you guys caught this a little bit, but Bomac did have a chance to speak to Mark Kriegel in what was an interesting and slightly awkward exchange at times, where Bomac explained to Kriegel about it that he had just forgotten that his gun was in his luggage. And then Kriegel didn't seem to think much about that. But then Bomac said, I just I'm like most people, I keep 2 or 3 on me at all times. And Kriegel looked at me and said, 2 or 3 at all times? He's like, yeah. He's like, where? Well, you got one. He's like, one in my hip, one on my truck. He's like, wait. And it was just kind of really awkward. And I do want to say that if you're a good, responsible gun owner, you know where all of your guns are at all times. So, not knowing that you fucking left your gun in your luggage for,
but here's the thing, though, mate.
You're not a responsible gun owner.
I would believe that he would forget. I mean, I can remember seeing videos of Terence Crawford taking an all banged out bloody truck up into the sticks, and him and his mates are pulling out bloody M16s and carbines and stuff like that. Mate, you're having target practice at this stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised that they've got many weapons lying about.
Bomac is packing a Mac in the back of the ack, basically. Do you know what I mean?
He keeps going me up at Attica. Actually, he keeps going at this rate.
I wish he'd shoot Kriegel.
Ideas off ever.
Don't say those things. But anyway, they say there's like 1 billion guns in this country, and I think they are grossly underestimated. And I know at least 10 people that have more than 20 guns. So I don't know. The math doesn't work out. Maybe that's just me though. Anyhow,
Bomac has a lot of hiding places for those guns as well. Let's be honest about it.
His armpits, his belly
buttons.
That's what I was thinking when you were telling me that. I was going to say he's like pull one out from underneath his arm,
He's like, they run the metal detector over you. What is that? Oh, metal. It's a mesh from a hernia surgery. Who's not gonna believe him? Like, yeah, I can see this guy having a hernia.
Hey, I had a fucking hernia. What's that?
They're painful. My heart goes out to you, Rob. But I know this is probably a big topic. Actually, might as well touch on it right now. Bomac got probably. Steve, this has got to be probably the lightest sentence you can imagine in this case. I mean, but potentially anybody that was a citizen of the UK looking at, more than 5 years, probably more like between 10 and 15 when you consider the ammunition and things like that and how they look at it. I thought that the nicest thing that they could do for the taxpayers of the UK is just deport him and not allow him to come back. Well, he got even better than that. He's getting deported and he can still come back. You talk about a fucking winning hand right there, man.
Apparently he objected to the second part. He's like, don't fucking send me back.
He was in HMP Birmingham, apparently, Rob, they were saying. That's where they were keeping him. He
Hey,
thanked the
Bomac.
staff. Macklin.
Paul Macklin, brilliant.
I think this day, man, I know you're saying 5 years, Matty, but I'm sure the maximum you could have got is 14. Unlimited fine as well, I'm sure.
That's rough, and I don't know if there's any money attached to it as far as fines and stuff like that, but possibly, yeah.
That's what I don't understand about these deals with the Americans. They go through like a fine tooth comb when you're trying to get over there, and you have to fill in all these visa forms and whatnot. And then Bomac, like you said, Matty, comes over with all these bullets, and then he's allowed back and whatnot. And I don't know, man. It's a strange thing.
You know, I think we all see things through our own lens, kind of from where we are, and we all kind of have our own, arrogances and things like that. But it's Americans, like, I don't know, we're kind of on our own planet in a lot of ways. Like we're really pissed off about. I know we're really pissed off about like drugs coming in from Mexico and us like ODing on them, but like we don't seem to be bothered about our guns going across the Mexican border and being used by cartels to kill Mexicans. It's very confusing.
We're happy to bring Mexicans across to cut your grass free and stuff like that, and fix your walls and all that shit, man.
I fucking love immigrants. Like, I can't even explain to people how much I fucking love them. I'm like, you're not going to go and do the shit that they fucking do. Like, they go through hell, send their kids through college, they start a business, and, that's the cycle of fucking immigration. That's how it fucking works. And, like, everybody just thinks they're a bunch of, like, welfare-using crackheads. It's fucking weird.
Don't worry, man. Listen, I wouldn't worry about it, man. I mean, you're destroying your own country like you're destroying half the world, not that type of stuff.
It's like the same shit you guys are doing to yours. It's the same shit.
What? What are you talking about?
It's all.
What are you doing to your country?
Well, you're not
Stop it, Andy.
You're not letting immigrants in, and if you don't expand the labor force, then wages go up everywhere, and if wages go up everywhere, prices go up on everything, and it creates heavy inflation.
Mate. You seen the immigrants in my country
this motherfucker off the fucking
Right, move on, I'm taking over. Move on, I'm taking over.
Have you seen the immigrant situation in Ireland just now, by the way? You've got people on Twitter creating accounts and that one that says Ireland's Irish, not that type of stuff, mate. They're gone mental over there.
Stop winding him up, Andy.
They want to hang out with Rob Kelly. Rob, quit being so congenial and less
Don't
people
bring me
want
into
to
this.
immigrate
I'm fucking minding my own business, trying to get back to my family. Leave me alone, mate.
Anyhow, I didn't have a chance to catch the card from Mexico last night. The return of Miguel Burchell taking a third-round stoppage on an injury by his opponent. But you thought the most interesting thing on that was Felix Alvarado, who got robbed on that card?
Yeah, Felix Alvarado got robbed, mate. To be fair, I've not got the scorecast to hand. I think it was 114, 113, potentially 3 times across the board. Anyway, Alvarado, as everybody knows, he is a standard bearer of the kind of lower weight divisions. Has been for a number of years. Kind of like been through the kind of ringer, went the distance with Sonny Edwards and that as well. Pushed him close, shall we say, or tested him at least. And he did the same thing with this kid, Angel Ayala. I think he's 22, 23-year-old, 16-0. And Alvarado dropped him heavily in the first round, cut him up. I think it was about the left eye, marked up. The kid just couldn't cope with the pressure. I don't think of what Alvarado was throwing at him. Anyways, I think I was the same opinion of the commentators that Alvarado was the worthy winner, and then they announced the decision to Felix Alvarado, and then literally within 10 seconds they said, "Oh, mistake, Angel Ayala got the decision," and then just like that, Felix Alvarado has now got a 4th L in his column now, which was complete BS. I thought he won the fight, and hopefully, if there's enough drama about it, shall we say, he might get a rematch. But to be fair, that Ayala kid got away with one there. To be fair, and I wouldn't be kind of putting much stock in him as well, to be honest with you, because if that's how he's kind of coping with kind of supposed on the back end type Alvarado, then a guy in his prime is going to handle him with consummate ease and that, because he struggled the whole fight, in my opinion at least. And then obviously, as he says, he got gifted the decision in that as well. And as for Burchell, okay, he's coming off 2 bad, I think it was KO losses he's coming off actually, and the opponent he faced, to be fair, it's not too bad actually. I mean, he beat Gamal Yafai, he went the distance with Lee McGregor. Some people might have maybe say they might have won the fight, and obviously he's went the distance and got beaten Argentina off Alberto Milan, who I think is the next Olympian. So you expect him maybe to kind of like maybe carry him rounds, got destroyed in 2. And Burchell did look a wee bit fresher, shall we say, but it seems to be he's going to try and make another run at it anyway, according to the commentary. So it looks like Burchell will be back on the road and he'll be back in America trying to get a world title fight sometime in the near future.
Interesting. And apparently there was a card in Germany where the Boxing Nutters Prediction League went. What was that fight that we didn't? It was Pratt against Spomer, right? Was that it?
Yeah, one in Croatia. Oh,
yeah,
it was in Germany. Sorry,
it was in Germany. And my hunch, I didn't see this fight, was I'm going to go with the hometown fighter by decision. Even though he was a little bit of an underdog. And then he goes and he knocks the son of a bitch out and fucks up everything. What the hell? He wasn't even the puncher in the fight, Andy. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Boxrec still had that fight as, the result hadn't come through. So when we were talking about the division just right at the start of the show, and you mentioned that, I was a bit shocked actually, because I hadn't known the result. And I said to you guys I think it was Stephen that said to last night that most of those shows in Germany were all pay-per-view. So I never caught any of them, to be fair. And I've never seen any boxing last night because there was nothing else on. I just sat and watched some of Ken Norton's all fights and that. A couple of beers, so yeah, it's a bit of a shock. Plus, that Milan Pratt, I think he's ranked. He's definitely ranked in the top 10 with one of the bodies. I know that much.
Yeah, I thought he would win that fight, to be honest.
That is a shocker. What's that upset of the weekend, basically? Although we've not seen it, but I need to try and see if I can get a copy of it. You said he got ice, Matty, aye?
Yeah, he got
Matty
stopped.
Ice.
I remember that guy back in the forum days. But yeah, it was. He got. I think it was the 7th round or something like that. But yeah, he got stopped. So that'll throw another wrench in the gears of the Boxing Nutters Prediction League. We'll see how that works out. But I like when the fights work out kind of in an odd way that you don't see that happening. Because that's when you know it's a truly interesting fight that belongs, Steve. Like the Kieran Conway winning by stoppage. Who sees Kieran Conway winning by stoppage? That was a big surprise there. We definitely had some strong fights to kick it off this season.
Well, you can't discount like things like the headbutt or punches landing on a particular part of the eye, swelling up the eye, and all of a sudden somebody's getting knocked out or the arm gets injured or something. That's boxing, I suppose.
Yeah, it's all the unknowns that keep us coming back for more. But I'm just glad that there's not as many unknowns as in the Misfit stuff. I still think that the only logical conclusion to that fight that I refused to watch would have been Logan Paul or Jake Paul running to the ring with a steel chair. But they didn't go that route. So obviously, what's the point?
Who won in the end? I'm genuinely asking because, as you know, I was at a show last
Tommy
night.
Fury won 4 rounds to 2 with a point deduction.
Okay,
apparently.
Against KSI, and then there was the other one. The one guy was slagging off Jake Paul, wasn't he?
He got DQ'd. Turned into a Royal Rumble, basically.
Oh, really?
Everybody got in the ring in that.
He he was getting his ass boxed off by Logan Paul, and then he tried to put Paul in a guillotine in the last seconds of the fight.
And then tried to take down on top. I tried a leg takedown on him.
Aye.
And then it just went this.
I was kind of wondering about that because he was. I have no idea who that guy is, and before this fight was made, and he's giving him loads on Twitter, wasn't he? Apparently.
Well, I think I didn't care who Dylan Dennis was. Actually.
No, I didn't.
Who's this guy? I thought he was a YouTuber as well at some point. But somebody says, "Oh, he fights in Bellator." I've never seen Bellator, to be fair, in that. So.
He's a MMA mate of Conor McGregor, who basically hasn't had a fucking fight. And goes around doing all these fucking shenanigans at press conferences. I think he hit someone there, didn't he, at one of the Misfits ones before. He's a bit of a shithead. He was ringside when Khabib choked out McGregor, and then there was a bit of a fucking fracas in the ring.
Oh, was that him? Khabib went after?
Outside the ring, yeah.
That was one of the greatest nights in combat
I tell you what, right
history.
now.
That was great.
I tell you. I bet Dennis absolutely evacuated his bills at one point.
I stopped him seeing the eagle coming over the fucking.
Oh, mate.
The funny thing about
looking for a Furious fire exit.
He got the shit beat out of him in the fight and he got choked out, but because he smacked 2 of them afterwards, he's gone on a fucking celebrity tour about talking about how he won the war and all. He lost the battle, but he won the war. Fucking mental case.
I don't know who would win in some sort of a big soccer riot between Chechens and Irish. I'm just glad I'm not in it, and I could just watch for my viewing pleasure.
Yeah, I tell you right now, it's going to be the Chechens.
Get him on the call.
It's going to be the Chechens. I see
They're a
the
different
Chech
breed,
video.
aren't they?
Fuck that shit. No, it's going to be the Chechens.
Did England lose to Fiji at rugby?
Hopefully.
Today? I was kind of thinking that would be the way that would end. Those Polynesian folks, when it comes to rugby, that size quotient is just too goddamn
You're not betting
much.
on that as well, are you?
No, fuck no. I don't know a goddamn thing about rugby. I was actually able to watch Russian table tennis at one time, so I would bet on that, but only quarters.
Well, don't let that stop you from becoming a full-time panelist on Rugby Asylum.
I would love to learn. I would have no interest in hosting Cricket Asylum though. That game that's just beyond me.
Ozzy would do that, no problem. He'd stand on his head.
That Ozzy can have that all day long. You just rock Cricket Asylum to your fucking heart's content, Oz. Let's see here. I don't think we had any questions in the queue, did we, Steve? Because Steve, well, let's go real quick. You had yourself a busy weekend. For anybody that's like, where might my content be? Or, why didn't Steve this or that? You were very busy being an actual journalist this weekend, weren't you, Steve?
Yes, I was. I was at the Girdwood Community Hub last night for 5 fights of great action. One of them is going to end up in the Bellew the week later, the supposed main event, which didn't take place, unfortunately, so we'll leave that one. But the main event ended up being Connor Quinn, who fought a guy from Glasgow called Chris Liddle. It was a good scrap for as long as it lasted. Quinn ended up knocking him out in the 7th round. He won the Celtic flyweight title. And also, I thought it was the Commonwealth title, but apparently it wasn't. It was the Commonwealth silver belt, which is some kind of subsidiary belt of the Commonwealth title now. So, yes, I've seen it up close and personal. It looks lovely as well with its colours. So, shout out to Connor Quinn. He's decent enough, and at flyweight, there's plenty of options for British title because there's only a very small pool of fighters. Also, Matty, before I forget, I better touch up on this Canada card, which we were talking about off air, which you rightly said was on Wednesday night. I like these Canada cards because they have like all the same prospects coming back. Wilkins, Mathieu, keep an eye on him. I've mentioned him before. He's only 18, real nice fighter. David Benavides style, puts his punches together lovely, very hard puncher. A lot of these fights were poorly matched, which is unusual for the Canadians. Imam Katayev, he's a Russian based in Australia who also fights and trains in Montreal. So he's one to keep an eye on, fought in the Olympics as well. Got a knockout win over David Benitez. Very quickly, though, Matty, the Femke Hermans, Mary Spencer bout, I didn't manage to catch that one. Clavel, you mentioned, did you? I think that must have been on a different one, actually.
Yeah,
that was on a different card.
Might have been.
Yeah, sorry. It was Herman Spencer was the main event on this one, yeah. And the one I was intrigued with was Eric Bazinian against Ronald Ellis, because Bazinian's a bit hit and miss for me. But as Andy mentioned last week, Ronald Ellis, sparring partner mentality, been sparring with Canelo and stuff. He got knocked out in the 6th round, dropped with the right hand, dropped again shortly after. Maybe the referee was a little bit premature, but the writing was on the wall for Big Ron. He's absolutely done. Bazinian, I think he redeemed himself a little bit, looked decent, as he'd struggled against Alantes Fox. Very quickly, I like Ronald Ellis's honest assessment. Before the Bazinian fight, they were interviewing him, and he was referencing a previous fight he'd had in Canada against Christian and Billy. And they said about, do you think that, the Christian and Billy fight should have been stopped because he went the distance? He says, I was lucky not to have been stopped by Billy. Yeah, I would have stopped it myself if I was the referee. So I thought that was amusing, underconfidence from Ron there.
All right.
Some refreshing honesty.
It's like, yeah, that would have been nice to me if they would have done that. I might have appreciated the offer.
There you go.
Anyhow, somebody has joined the call with my smiling face as their picture and the name Gigi Anello. Ames, is that you?
Speaking of misfits, bunch of misfits on there, eh?
Clearly.
Shots fired from Eamon.
That's good. And how are we all doing? You're good?
Yes, Ames.
I was until I thought I had a stalker.
Not as good as you, mate. Ringside watching Dillian Dennis making an absolute cock of himself.
It was a show. It was a show indeed. What a show it was. I know, like I've got to use. We've created the term now. Traditional boxing fans obviously don't like this side of the sphere, but I mean, if you kind of take if you
see on Boxrec,
yeah,
it's kind of like MF. I was like,
yeah,
MF. I had to go and Google it at first. Misfit boxing. Obviously, it made sense after that.
It's a big step forward to get it onto Boxrec, I think.
It is a wee bit more opening these days.
It's there now with amateur boxing and Maltese Bieber boxing.
Bare knuckle and all that stuff.
Sign of the times.
So how was it anyway? Was it a good night?
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, you work in the show, so you're back and forth, or don't get too much of an opportunity to watch some of the fights. But I watched most of the fights in the undercard, and look, from the point of view of like a spectacle or a show where you're looking to buy a ticket and enjoy it. The people resonate with it. The people who are into this sort of side, they're mostly filling up the arenas early to watch the undercard, come in and enjoy the fights. And for this specific side of entertainment, they're calling it sports entertainment, like with wrestling. You got what you wanted.
Does that mean, Eamon,
like I said?
Does that mean that some of the results are fixed because they're saying sports entertainment? Because that whole shit last night, like I only obviously saw the fucking clips, but Dylan Dennis can't box for shit. Logan Paul can't really box for shit either. He's no Jake Paul. Not that that's a huge compliment, but the end of it seemed a little bit WWE. Like, is it? Are they scripting this shit? Like, or are they kind of unofficially scripting it? Do you reckon?
They're not scripting it. The most, in the biggest way that, in the most possible way that it's scripted is in the sense that they definitely have their winners or the people that they want to win, but they're not fixing fights in any sort of way. I've had no sniff of that sort of thing going on at all. I wouldn't kind of put that forward either, but they definitely want to push certain people, and that's just like with any promotion really. But the point I was going to make is like with our side of boxing, like we get abused so much and that we want fights for so long and we have to watch it get marinated and the ladle stir very slowly for it to get marinated. If you're a fan of this side of boxing, you're getting what you want right now. You're getting treated right now. There's no card I can think in boxing for a long time that marries up to what they got over that side. And that's the sign of the times in terms of what DAZN want to, what DAZN are pumping money into as well. So I think we've gone past the point where now, like, this used to be a bit of a side show. This is starting to become the main course when it comes to boxing specifically. And that's a wider issue where if boxing doesn't get its act together, which it's not going to get its act together because it hasn't, and you guys have discussed that at length for years, it's going to be an even bigger problem and an even bigger hole that they're digging themselves into. And if you're DAZN, and I'm hearing anything in between the region of 800K to millions, I'd be cautious on any real number of millions. But if it is millions that this sold, then why would you want to invest more into traditional boxing? You're looking to put on more of these shows. And when they're talking about, BoxRec is recognizing them, shows in Las Vegas are coming. Las Vegas is a real landmark. That's a hallmark to say, look, we're here and we're here to stay if they manage to do those sort of cards. And the whole idea of this Prime card is like, this is going to be their WrestleMania. So this is WrestleMania 1. And, there's a lot more to come.
Well, Ames, the thing is, I kind of think when you look at the real boxing pro game, I think Tyson Fury gets the sideshow aspect. We can rip on him for his choices, this, that, and the other, but I think he gets the sideshow aspect, and he's willing to play along and make bank off of it.
That's fine, but keep the real stuff going at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, the Furies have always been savvy. The Furies have always been savvy in knowing that you can tell by the headlines and the amount of stuff that Fury comes out with, like, I'm dipping my hands in petrol and doing this, that, and the other. They've always known that, look, I need
that off the great Joe Joyce, not the other juggernaut. Rob that he did.
Well, whatever it was, but they've always known to, like, look, I need to keep my name in the headline, so I'll say whatever I need to keep you talking about me. They've always, and that's kind of been a part of boxing's problem, or boxers' problem specifically, is they don't know how to WWE promo, get on the mic, sell themselves, and at the end of the day, to put it bluntly, they're a product on the shelf, and they've got to get people to buy them, and they don't. Fury's clocked that. These social media influencers have clocked that. Not the rest of boxing or traditional boxing, or the boxers haven't already, and that's still an issue.
I'd say John Fury and Tommy Fury are just looking at YouTube channels and Twitch lads and everything to see who has the most subscribers, to see who they're going to fight next, because the cunt's not going to beat anyone with a pulse in a fucking real fight, so we might as well keep fighting these fucking crossover guys that get paid out the arse for it. Like, I mean, in a way, I can't be mad at the likes of Tommy Fury. Like, Tommy Fury, I don't want to say we made him, but we definitely helped him with his start. But he came on the pod early in his early career. I think he'd only had like 2 pro fights. Seemed like a nice kid. This was before Love Island and everything, and he was like, I don't want to be the next Tyson Fury. I just want to be the best version of Tommy. But you could see by him on the show, and he's not a fighter, like, is he? He's only marginally better than the guys he's fighting against, and he's getting paid astronomical truckloads of cash to do it. Like, so I can't be mad at the likes of a guy like that with his talent level, but at the same time, it just doesn't. It just like boxing's in the toilet anyway. Showtime is leaving the sport, and this is replacing boxing almost. Do you know that way? Like this shit is replacing boxing. Like, it's more exciting to the kids, you know. And like, I know they've got like stacked undercards and the people are there from 7 o'clock, but is that because Elle Brook is on every single undercard? These are the fucking questions I need to find out the answers to. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I actually asked my daughter last night, actually, because she's at that age where she's like watching YouTube all the time, and that. I says, "Do you know who KSI is?" She's like, "Is that the person that owns that Prime Energy drink or something along the lines?" I went, "Oh well, you know, something like basically." So she's aware of him and that as well, but she hadn't aware of like boxing, for example, that type of thing. But certainly, as Ames says, that they've certainly got a market there for the younger generations, and it'd be interesting to know how much would they paid for that last night. Any indications, Ames, as to how much?
It's done a bomb, hasn't it?
What was it? What was the tennis like? Was it like curtained off, or was it a sellout?
No, nothing was curtained off. Like, apart from, you know, obviously the stage having to occupy its own kind of region, nothing was curtained off.
Oh well.
And
my son Ames associated boxing with Jake Paul. So I took him along last night to the Girdwood Community Hub because I said, you know what, you got to do your stripes here. You've got to feel the real misery of boxing.
Yeah,
like the rest of us.
Should have fucking shaved his head on the way home, Steve, did you?
dropped him off at the local Borstal for his
He also has to feel the pain.
Took him off for a fortnight and left him there for a fortnight.
It's crazy the impact these YouTubers have on kids. Like, I guess it's the way they consume media, because like I like television shows when I was a kid and all, but these kids like YouTube channels. Like, my cousin was telling me like his young fella was crying the night that fucking Jake Paul and KSI fought because fucking KSI beat Jake Paul. He's crying. Fucking
soft ass shit that.
Jesus, you'd be disappointed, wouldn't you? Fuck's sake.
I mean,
you would wild.
See, if it was my kid, man, I would take that for a parenting test, like, without doubt, mate. Blood, urine, the law, just to make sure, like, you got to ask questions.
Hey, so anyhow, we can move on a bit here, but Chase Athletic said something interesting in here. We're a month away, a little better, but why not get into it? And he said, Steve, you heard it here first. Benavidez got humble pie coming along. Well, Steve, I kind of get this hunch that Andrade is probably going to do better even than Plant through the first half, maybe plus a couple. But I get this feeling he's a little bit more fragile than Plant, a little softer than Plant. I think Benavidez is going to take him out late. I do think that Andrade will build up a lead, but I think the big boy is going to put him on his ass and make him want to quit.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that, to be honest. I think Andrade will have a lot more success than people think. Especially early on, he does throw a lot of shots, but as the going gets tough, we have seen that he is vulnerable. He can get the chin cracked, and his stamina's poor late on. He likes the party lifestyle, so I think that Benavidez will catch up with him to the body, physical strength, close him down, and the counter shots will become few and far between. And he'll work out his moves, these big lunging kind of weight. He like ducks down to the waist and all that, Andrade, and I think that Benavidez will start timing him. But yeah, Plant pushed him close, like you said, and Andrade he has a bit of a dig on him, and I think the fight will actually be a lot closer than people think, and I won't be surprised to see it go the distance, maybe even a majority or something. I think Andrade will give him a lot of trouble, but he needs to back it up now, Andrade. If he comes and shits the bed and tries to run, I'll be devastated, because the amount of talking he's done over the years, and this is his big opportunity now, he's got to deliver, and I think early on he will do better than people think.
Doc Charlo back in the day as well, so this is his moment.
Yeah, it just I don't know. It seems he's got to be getting on up there too. What is Andrade? He's got to be 35-ish, isn't he?
33, is he? I don't know.
Won't be far off mid-30s,
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about it. Ames, what are kind of your hunches going into this?
35. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
What a career! What a career for Demetrius Andrade. I remember speaking to some people within the current boxing media sphere, and a couple of them were kind of saying, like, I think Andrade has got the style to defeat Canelo. I was thinking, like, where are you getting that from? From what portion of Andrade's career, against what level of fighter has Andrade shown that sort of ability to contend at that sort of level? And that's a fight that he's hankered for without ever actually kind of qualifying himself for that type of fight. Benavidez, a win over Benavidez finally gives him that qualification, I think, to really properly put himself inside the mix, apart from, you know, really pushing for press conferences and making a meme of himself at times in his career as he's done before. Look, in terms of the fight, I don't really give Andrade much of a chance. I think I've not particularly rated Andrade myself, really. I just don't think he is at that level, or at least now he hasn't shown me to really have that quality. I imagine Benavidez will end up stopping him or closing the distance towards the mid to late rounds in that fight. But it's a real kind of disappointing career for Andrade, who for some, when I've had conversations with him, kind of saw him being someone who could contend higher, but I've never seen it with myself. I know Steve saw him with his own eyes and flew out to see him specifically. So maybe Steve might have a bit more of an understanding of the quality that he does possess, but I just never have seen it for myself. And I think this will be kind of the closing of the door for Andrade when the two meet, whenever that fight is.
You're a sick human being, Steve. Jesus.
Do you think it's kind of like a little bit like the Mick Conlan thing with Irish people, where everyone knew how good he was as an amateur and he won the gold medal, and then it just didn't work out as a pro? Because if you talk to any like Americans, certainly any Black American fight fans, they all rate Andrade so highly based off his amateur career. Everybody said like he was fucking gonna go on to reach such heights, and it hasn't been that way. I think he's kind of been a little bit of a victim as well of his promotional thing like that. Eddie stitched him up with Canelo, didn't he? Like, because Eddie had him first, and then he got Canelo, and he was like, "Yeah, mate, go to the press conference, wear a t-shirt, call out Canelo. It's going to work out really good for you, mate. Ask for the fight." And then he turned up with Canelo.
Tried to get Andrade to back off when he was actually in the middle of it doing it.
Yeah. And then he was like, "Not now, man. Not now. Get the fuck out of here. I have Canelo now. I don't give a shit about this. Get your dreadlocks and get that fucking t-shirt out of this fucking press conference room." So
you want payday? You want payday? Yeah.
Canelo just memed him to death, didn't he? And like the fight fans stopped taking Andrade seriously. So we're finally seeing him in a big contest, a big interest fight, and we'll see what he's made of. I think Benavidez is a bit of a monster, a bit of a fucking marauder, a bit of a nightmare style, brilliant on the jab. But it'd be interesting, like if fucking Andrade goes out and flattens Benavidez, it'd make the division interesting. Saying that, I want to see Benavidez versus Canelo, and I actually predict that might be a bit of a passing of the torch. And I think Benavidez might go on to reign long at 68. But look, fucking Andrade's asked for a big fight for long enough. He has one now. Let's see what he's made of. Like,
you know, I just Steve, there's just these lapses in concentration that Andrade has, and you can't do that against Benavidez. He's going to have to stay focused all 12 rounds and have a hell of a gas tank to get through this thing. And it's sad when you think about it. Benavidez, probably about a decade his junior, I would argue, has had the better competition in his career already.
Yeah. Oh, Andrade's definitely wasted his career. Just because I think he'll give Benavidez trouble doesn't mean that I'm a fan of his. Like, I'd love to see nothing better than Benavidez to smash him in 3 rounds. We get rid of him forever. I just know that from when I saw him, and for the record, I was over for James Tennyson fighting Tevin Farmer. Andrade was the main event. He was supposed to fight Billy Joe Saunders, but Billy Joe Saunders, unfortunately, I don't know what happened there, but, you know, he'd be gutted. Absolutely. He's one of the lads, Billy Joe, you know, he had to pull out the fight. And Andrade fought this.
Definitely didn't do anything wrong anyway.
Korkundokwa instead, and he was very awkward watching him. He was very awkward, but by the end, I think we left with a couple of rounds to go. It was just absolutely turgid. He just couldn't finish him off whatsoever. But I think given what Caleb Plant did, I do imagine him to be tricky and awkward. But like I say, that's not what I'm hoping for here. But I think that's what will transpire. But if Benavidez gets rid of him and finally eliminates him, I'd be more than happy to see that. Don't get things twisted.
Well, and it's going to be on pay-per-view here. I don't think it's going to sell huge, you know, maybe a couple 100,000 buys, but he'll get one last payday. And I think probably he'll just ride off in the sunset, Andy. I don't think that he's addicted to the idea of being around. He just kind of just wanted to get this big money fight and win, lose, or draw. You know, probably more so lose. I think he's done.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. The quicker this fight happens and Benavidez deals with business, the better, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Rob kind of pretty much put it on the head there. Actually, I mean, he was with Eddie for long enough, and Eddie just couldn't secure in the fight. I'm just trying to remember now what the situations were. Obviously, he had all the PBC fighters, Charlo, and all those guys. Broner, for example. No, Broner, Charlo, Spence, all that type of thing. Who guys who've been at 54 possibly were all tied up. They weren't going to do business with Eddie, and they pretty much kind of frittered away. And I think in the end, Andrade kind of knew that Eddie just couldn't get up in the fights, and Eddie kind of acknowledged that as well. I mean, to be honest with anybody want to take that fight, really, it's not going to move the needle for anybody. Even fighting the likes of Benavidez isn't going to do nothing in that as well. It's clearly just a keep busy fight for Benavidez, keep the weight off, not take too much damage, potentially having to kind of chase the fight a little bit as he's trying to get Andrade, tie him into the corner and just kind of work him over. But I agree with you. I think he'll probably would be a kind of late stoppage if it's going to go that far. But motivation might come into it as well. And if he's forced to chase it at 68, is it definitely at 68? Yeah, it's not a catch weight or anything like that.
68.
68. So again, depending how he how he does the weight as well. Motivation. He's just treading water at this point as well, just waiting for the Canelo fight. So again, it might say a lot as to how he makes the weight and how he looks and that as well. If he comes in to handle his business and that type of thing, you kind of think to yourself, would Canelo want to do business? If he comes in and just mauls Andrade to death, just like knocks him out. Or does he labour, carry him for 10, 12 rounds or whatever it is? And then...
Andy, I'll tell you another thing as well. You mentioned him calling out Canelo and all. I was watching a few videos of his recently because I was doing an article on it. And I tell you what, he's a right oddball, isn't he, Andrade? Talk about awkward in the ring. He's so awkward away from the ring. I mean, I don't know whether it's an act or whether it's just a bit simple or something, but tell you what, he isn't half hard work to interview. Like, I felt sorry
was he no ringside? It was like Canelo against Saunders, and he's standing there with some sort of kind of t-shirt on saying like Canelo was ducking him or whatever it is, and this old woman sitting next to him, flipping the bird at him. This is getting live on national television.
He's a strange character, I tell you that much.
Yeah, but remember, he threw away his title way, way back. I'm talking like the days when he's fighting Charlo. He might have been the WBO champ at... I want to say 54, and I must be going back maybe just under 10 years ago actually. That as well. It was a career high payday, but I think he got involved with some sort of managers disputes, maybe promotional disputes, and ended up to kind of vacate his title in that as well. So maybe bad business moves possibly in that as well. But Eddie would have seen him all right, I suppose, with all that early doors to zone money. So he'll be laughing, no problem. Even Ed.
Yeah, Rob, Chase Athletic says, wide stance is not easy to hit. Punching up is easier than down. Don't necessarily disagree with it. You see a lot of examples of that. Catterall versus Taylor comes to mind right off the top of my head. But I
think if you have a good stick, if you have the good jab, you can deal with any stance.
Well, I was going to say, the more so, I think the idea is, Benavidez being a combination puncher. What people forget about Benavidez, Rob, is that he throws some really short, hard uppercuts and hooks. It's not like he's, throwing a lot of wide punches all the time here. So I think Chase Athletics, although really sharp on this stuff, I think he might be thinking this one wrong. What do you think?
I think Andrade can pick his, again, I kind of have to be invested in the fighters to really give my boxer size Ben type fucking insights into fucking exits and exit strategies and fucking
your problem
rotations.
Is you don't have a fitness center, Rob. You need a fitness center.
Exactly. I need a fucking fitness institution. What I think about this is that Andrade probably has enough skill set to pick Benavidez's pocket for maybe 9 rounds, but I think Benavidez will come on strong in the last third of the fight and probably maraud him a little bit. But he's a hardful puncher, a spiteful puncher, but Andrade don't really hold his feet too long. You don't really see him get rocked too much. I know he has a bit of a gas tank issue, and that's where I think Benavidez's strengths, his endurance, his fucking physicality, his rough in the clinch, his short work, like you said, on the inside, bit of power, that'll take over and probably end up being too much for Andrade in the long run. But as much as he's boring as fuck, as much as he's a weird character, he has enough fucking of a skill set, I think, to pick Benavidez's pocket for a couple of rounds. And if he had enough snap to keep him off, he might actually be in with a shot to win it. But I think this is Benavidez's time at 68. I think he's going to be the man here for a couple of years. So I'm going to say Benavidez overwhelms him and outworks him towards the back end of the fight. But Andrade, not a mooch. It's just a bit of a non-event of a career for me.
Yeah, it's just been kind of sad. It's just, guys, my hope beyond hope here, and maybe I'm thinking of it too much, but I really would like, Sands. It doesn't have to be as iconic. Hopefully, it doesn't have any sort of the the arguments at the end of. That was dirty or anything like that, or someone got done wrong. But guys, my hope on this one is that this is going to be kind of a Meldrick Taylor against Julio Cesar Chavez kind of fight, where it is one guy seems like he's winning it the whole way, but secretly along the way, the bigger puncher is winning the war, and it just wears on until all of a sudden something crazy happens. But I know hoping beyond hope on that one. But I'm just thinking Andrade's career has delivered such little action that why not cram it all into one goddamn fight?
So are you saying you're actually wanting Andrade to win this?
No, he'd be the Meldrick Taylor. He'd be losing at the end.
Who's going to do the Richard Steele job?
Terry O'Connor.
Terry O'Connor was there last night doing the judging, actually, Andy, in one of the fights.
Was he?
The Commonwealth fight.
That's who washed he is, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, guys, I hope Harvey Dot gets the assignment.
The cheek of you mentioning fucking Benavides and fucking Andrade in the same breath as fucking Chavez and Taylor, you absolute asshole.
Well, hold on. Was Meldrick Taylor a good pro who failed to live up to the standards set by his amateur career?
His career so fucking cut short. Gold medalist in the Olympics, fucking Bradham Ragged for fucking 11 rounds. Jesus.
His problem was he wanted to fight like a Philly fighter, when he didn't need to. He had the skills to not take the damage, basically. But he somehow had to live up to that Philly image, basically. He was
it's crazy because he honestly,
he had all the tools, man.
Yeah, from seeing him before even he fought Chavez, and I remember it, like his fucking hand Steve was blistering, his exits, his fucking head movement. He could have been the next Ray Leonard, without a doubt. But Chavez had other plans, but that fight ruined him, obviously. But Sky would have been the limit if it's just. We talk about this all the time, margins and crossroads and people meeting each other at the wrong time. Whatever the fuck they gave the sport that night was fucking unbelievable, but it took everything from Taylor, didn't it? Like,
never the same again.
I think it could be a real Slim versus Salt Pappy type of fight.
You're a sick fuck.
Salt Pappy, what the fuck happened to Salt Pappy? I thought he was supposed to be the one that they were fucking that could have thrown hands with the pros. They were calling him the next Manny Pacquiao. Is the Slim guy Ames? Is he the guy that is trained by Malik Scott?
Andrew Rozier.
Who was it?
Andrew Rozier.
Right, because he was talking about, seeing as we're mentioning Meldrick Taylor, actually, I saw some kind of bullshit interview with Malik Scott. Maybe it could have been a Michelle Joy Phelps one, but he was comparing his Misfits fighters' hand speed and footwork with Meldrick Taylor, which is a pretty good compliment. Maybe Meldrick Taylor now, though. I don't know if it's fucking
Ames. Ames, who's Rozier still training these days?
Oh, he mentioned it in the interview. Is he not? I think he mentioned he was sparring with. Is he not with Andrade? Am I getting that mixed up?
No, Rozier always trained Derevchenko, Danny Jacobs, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that's who Slim mentioned that they got some sparring in with Jacobs specifically. That's one. It's in the interview. I've just completely brain farted here, but it was just surprised to see him involved in the scene. I think he said as well, like, his peers in the boxing scene as well don't really take too kindly or turn up the nose up to this scene, but he seems to have done a bit of work with.
Go and watch the interview.
No, I'm not.
I mean, you
that. Keep it tuned in. Keep it tuned into the Boxing Asylum for sure. But no, look, like I'm just trying to say, up in the pantheon of the great fights that you're mentioning, Slim versus Salt Pappy needs to be given its respect.
How the fuck did we get here?
Put some respect on fucking Slim's name.
This is like a Richard D. Hall week, isn't it? This
is like a bad episode of the Twilight
Don't
Zone.
make me dream, Steve. Fucking times I wish I was on a starship. It's never happened. That little fucking backstabber, what's his name? Neil fucking, that sold him out. Neil Sanders, asshole.
Sweet Jesus. Anyhow, I don't even know where the hell we are. So I guess I'm just going to get into previews of the upcoming fights. Ames, more than welcome to stick around, sir, if you would like to get in on this action. Gonna have a Pro Box card on Wednesday. Gonna have 9-0.
Sorry,
Darryl.
Matty. Sorry to cut this short because I know this Pro Box card has everyone on the edge of their seats. But where's Dom? Where the fuck is Dom? We bring Dom on the panel and he hasn't fucking turned up this week. This is bad news. Ames is here, but we've got no Dom. What's going on? Like, you weren't here last week. I had Dom deputized for me, and it was the worst decision ever because if I had known you weren't going to be here, I would have just jumped on.
Well, legally we can only have one Irish on the show.
Bit weird that Dom was your sub, Rob.
That's quality.
And he also had Rob's statement on the fight last week for Charlo.
Yeah, he was like fucking years ago when Jerry Adams was banned off the telly and Dom was just reading my statement, wasn't it?
Never!
Anyhow.
Fucking hell.
Wednesday, it's going to be a Pro Box card. It's going to be from Florida, like all the Pro Box cards. Got 9-0 Darryl Valsaint taking on 10-1 Diego Inblowski. I assume he's Argentinian. Gonna have 7-0 Najee Lopez. I like him. Not against the step up. I like though. Doesn't really seem to step up. 7-3 Carnell Wheeler. I like the main event a lot though. 17-2 Brandon Glanton could very well be undefeated depending on how you scored those fights. Taking on 12-1 Cuban Carlos Formenta Romero. I think this main event cruiserweight fight is going to be the goods. Looks like a well-matched one there from Pro Box, so make sure to check that one out live if your state's
Romero's a Cuban, by the way. He lost on his debut and he hasn't lost since, so that is a live fight. That Glanton isn't matched easy, to be fair to him.
Mm-hmm. And like
was that the guy with is he the guy with the exciting hair? The Cuban that lost on his debut, no?
No, his hair doesn't look very exciting from what I can see. But then I'm not really a aficionado of hair, Rob, so I can't comment.
This is it.
Yeah, there's Rob.
His nickname's Demolidor. What does that mean?
Yeah, if you have a beard and you wear a hat, people think you have a head of hair.
I have a head of hair. Will he stop this? Is going on for the last 5 years. I fucking go to the barbers every week. Someone want to give me back me 25 quid every week if I don't get my fucking haircut.
It's well hidden. What's the pay for it, man?
Topic.
20. I tell you what, right? I got my money back a few weeks ago. This guy plays Astro with his Basil, nice kid. Fucking cut me. He was lining up my beard, and then he left me with like a razor bumps and beard rash and all kinds of. And he like, instead of lining up my beard, he faded it. It was like one of the Viking fucking nomads. I was like a biker. I had to say, look, give me the fucking money back, man. Will you? He's looking at me with a face. I was like, I'm not paying for you to fucking burn me in the chair, man. Give me the fucking money back. It's all good. We're still friends.
Speaking of crazy events, Thursday from Russia, going to have a 135-pound fight between the 2021 Olympic gold medalist Albert Batragaziev against also undefeated Ender Lucas, 20-0, 16 KOs. He has fought no one at whatsoever. You never know. Sometimes you haven't fought anyone until you fought somebody and you take them out. But this could be another O for Batragaziev to take. Andy, I'm sure you might find a way to watch this one.
I doubt it, mate. But is that Wednesday? You say that about working that
Thursday.
Day,
Thursday.
I'm off. Nah, I doubt it, mate. I'll skip it.
Okay. Well, that's your choice. It's your life, and you can choose what to do with it.
Thank you.
Yes. Friday in Birmingham from the Holiday Inn, Steve. High-class affair. Ijaz Ahmed versus Marcel Braithwaite in a rematch of a draw they had earlier this year for the British 115-pound strap. Interesting fight, actually, this one. We already had a draw. Fuck it, bet the next one, right?
Yeah, I think I watched the first fight, actually. Was it on Channel 5? It might be on Channel 5 or BT Sport or something. I'm not sure about this one, though.
Yeah, could have been. Hopefully it was a fun draw.
What
not
card's
a really
this, sorry?
boring one. It's I don't know if it's on TV or anything, but it's on Friday from the Holiday Inn in Birmingham.
All right, might be on YouTube or something. I thought you were talking about Channel 5 card, or maybe just missed or something.
Birmingham, Alabama, or like Birmingham, England?
England. Why would we have that fight in the United States?
Well, you had Janibek against that bum German last night. I mean, what's the point of having that?
Vincenzo Gualtieri doesn't sound very German, does he?
No, I think he just lives there and trains there. He's obviously
okay.
a Dago. So anyhow, I am too. Kiss my ass.
Graziano Roccassini over here.
Now talking about pure excitement here. If none of that tripped your triggers, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday from Germany, we thought he was done, but alas, he is not. Firat Arslan taking on Eden Puhalo, 23-1 for the WBA gold belt. Andy, I know you're just on the edge of your seat. We know what you're doing on Saturday.
Yeah, getting a big build up here by Steve with the background music. Yeah, this Bosnian that he's fighting, 23-1, 22 knockouts, clearly a live dog in the fight. But I can't believe that the WBA have actually put a belt up for this one. Actually, cruiserweight gold title, whatever it is. I think this Bosnian's only defeats came from that Dylan Prasovic, who got iced off. Was it Okoli? I think it was very early. I think he also got.
He's at Chamberlain as well.
That's who it was. I couldn't remember the other one. So who knows what we're going to be getting here off this guy? So what is Aslan? What is he? 50? What now? 50? Give me a second here. 53. 53-year-old mate.
No, plenty of time.
Servant of the sport, credible. 66. Well, this will be 67th fight actually coming up. So 54, 9-3, ex-champion. Coming again, like Jade can't, but best of luck to him.
I'm pulling for him. Be interesting. A different card from Germany. There's also going to be a cruiserweight belt. Undefeated Michael Seitz, 11-0, taking on Steve Ilundu Intiri, 8-0. He's South African. I do my best, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought you were asking me my opinion on the fight. Is that his actual name?
That is Steve Ilundu Intiri. Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe not. Then moving on, let's see here. Interesting. Gonna have a fight, Steve. Here's one for you, buddy. From Rotherham, 135-pound English title on the line. Louis Sylvester taking on our boy Jimmy First, the ageless wonder. Yeah.
No way. I didn't realise that fight was on. Jimmy First lost in his last fight, didn't he?
His last two fights.
Oh, has he? Oh, he's on the slide now then. Although if Firat Arslan has shown
Jimmy last.
There's still plenty of life left.
Got a quick on a draw around here. There we go.
Oh, dear.
Couldn't get the mute button off in time.
I don't think we'll get to watch that one, unfortunately, Matty. I don't know. I don't think it's televised.
Praise be to Allah.
Are you going to go down to Rotherham and cover Louis Sylvester and Jimmy First?
Rotherham.
No, I'd have to fly over.
Well, I don't know what you guys are doing with your life. Everything's a few hours away, and yet you attend none of these big events.
I'm not
just like I like it.
I'm not driving down to Rotherham, fucking 5-6 hours away as me. Away bollocks.
I've been to Rotherham actually years ago when Wolves were playing there.
Best
There's not much going on, like.
Exactly. It's like Grimsby, mate.
Oh, I've been there as well, actually. Yeah.
Two was in the name in Grimsby, I think, isn't it?
It's B.
Now, I think I'm going to jump over stateside here, and then we'll finish up on the British affairs. Let's hear from a DAZN card in California. Start at the bottom and work our way up. Going to have Jojo Diaz in a 10-rounder working his way back against Richard Medina, whose only losses to Raymond Ford. Jojo was finally able to end his 3-fight skid against Jerry Perez recently, so best of luck to him on that one. Then we're going to have 112 IBF women's title on the line with Avale Muccino taking on Gabriela Fundora. Hopefully she doesn't meet the same fate as her brother, trying to pick up her first strap there. Going to have a 115-pound scrap between John Ramirez, undefeated, taking on Ronald Batista, 15-3. We've seen him in some fun fights, I do believe. That's over 12 rounds. And then a welterweight clash between Alexis Rocha, who's been on a good run of form, against undefeated Giovanni Santillan. Decent little card here, Steve. A couple of fights that aren't too bad.
Yeah, no, I actually like this card, believe it or not, and I'm quite hard to please. You mentioned the scrap there. John Ramirez is known as Scrappy. He is a good little fighter at Superfly, going in against Batista, who lasted into the 11th round against Martinez, so that will be a good fight on the undercard, 12 rounds. That was supposed to take place on a recent card, actually, but it got moved over to this one, so I don't know what the issue was there. As for the main event, I like Rocha. He's developed into a solid fighter, just below world level at the moment. His opponent, Santillan, he's got over 30 fights. He hasn't never lost, but he hasn't really fought anyone significant. He's 31 years of age. Talk about slow burning, 11-year career. He was over on Top Rank for a while. He's one of the David McWhorter clients. And in 2022, they stepped him up against Julio Luna, who was also undefeated. 10-rounder, managed to get that job done on that night. Rocha's fun. He showed against George Ashe. He's not afraid to stand inside. He brings a lot of fans. It's going to be a good atmosphere. He throws the right hook very well. He will look to break down Santillan, but I think that if they get into a bit of a slugfest, Santillan does tend to dangle his hands a little bit low at times, and his head is static, so I can see Rocha catching up with him at some point, but it's going to be a war. They're going to stand inside. Rocha's experience for me is going to prevail in this one, but he might have a few hairy moments at various times during the fight. A lot of shots are going to be thrown, a lot of defensive neglect. I think it will be a really, really good fight and a good card, actually. Well matched, this from Golden Boy.
You gotta be careful with Rocha because he can really punch.
Yeah.
George Ashe, he had, I believe, he had never been stopped prior to that in like a 20-year pro career.
He iced him, didn't they?
Yeah, teak tough African, as you would so say, Steve.
Yeah, Chase Athletics says there, Rocha has a come forward style just against movers. He has trouble. Santillan ain't going to move. He's going to stand there right with him. It's going to be head to head. Best man wins. So that's why I think it's going to be a war.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting fair. Hopefully everything works there. Funny enough, Steve, I was able to watch DAZN easier on my phone while on vacation than on my high-speed internet connection at home. Quite curious.
You're not still beefing with them, no?
I'm always beefing with them until they fucking get it right.
Yeah,
or they give me money.
Good luck with that.
I'm hoping. I don't want to hear anything from the fucking peanut gallery. Mute yourself, Rob. Mute yourself.
He's a bastard.
All right. I don't need to hear anything from your bald ass. All right. Then we're going to hop over to Liverpool. Going to have a 140-pound clash. Jack Catterall taking on Jorge Linares. Also an interesting, Andy, 122-pound clash between Peter McGrail and Fran Mendoza, a South American now living in Spain, both undefeated. Mendoza with 17 fights under his belt. No really big names on there, obviously. Interesting 122-pound scrap there. That's kind of a good undercard filler there for what's the less than enticing main event.
I'm just pulling up the card now, mate, to be fair. Don't know anything about the kid Mendoza, just other than that he's fighting.
We've seen Campbell Hatton's opponent, Andy. The Nutters were picking it out earlier. He's fighting against Jamie Sampson. He's 9-2. He fought in June against Conor Gray, lost on points, and that was his first fight in 9 years.
You wonder if he did time or something.
Seems like a solid guy.
2014 was the last time he fought before then.
Pro 2011, so he's a 12-year veteran.
He's in the Who Wants Him club, really. He's been waiting it out for a big opportunity.
Him and Jimmy first.
What did he go to jail? Did he decide he wanted to sell copy machines? I don't know what his last 9 years was. The people want answers, sir.
What's Campbell Hatton now? 25-0. He's on every
I think he's like 13-0 now at this point.
Jesus. Challenging for a world title towards the end of 2024, so we have a lot of material to get through still. Don't worry, others. We'll be here for you. Fuck's sake.
Could be shooting for that WBU title his old man had all those years ago, Rob.
He's probably fighting Eamon McGee for it.
I'm going to say they might drag out some of the opponents. Freddie Pendleton next year in the MEN.
What's John Thaxton doing?
Well, no, Ricky never. Oh no, he did fight Thaxton. That was when he got the cut, wasn't it?
Yep.
That's brilliant.
He's fighting Junior with her. See, he's fighting Senior Witter.
His son, Junior Witter Jr.
Junior Witter Senior is going to be at the fucking fight. Fired up.
Junior Witter squared.
Junior Witter probably would have beaten that, wouldn't he?
No.
I think he would have given him a lot of trouble, you know.
Yeah, I think at the time the fight was floated, I think he would have been...
A sharp puncher, Witter.
Let me say, I think a lot of that fight depends on who was reffing it.
Well, it would have been Mickey Van. We all know that, don't we?
Mickey Van, yeah, exactly.
So it would have been
was
Ricky.
reffing it.
Hey, one hand's free. Fuck off. Anyways, let's see here. So yeah, Andy, did you pull up that card?
Yeah, I just looked at it, mate.
I mean, his name is Fran. You got to be tough. It's kind of like a boy named Tszyu, right? You got to be tough.
Yeah, whatever. You just don't know what the guy is, man. You know, to be fair. McGrail just got that classic amateur style, and I like to see him kind of step up a wee bit as well. Was it 7 in a row? Aye, so keep him busy. But looks at stepping up the rounds, I think it is as well. Well, a wee bit of block nose here. I need to go and blow it. So, aye, just move on for that one, mate.
You got the main event. I don't know, Steve. Seems like we're just waiting around for the Catterall and Taylor rematch, which, God, their first fight feels like forever ago at this point in time. Linares passed his best. Couple of losses recently. 140 pounds, definitely above his best weight. I don't know, man. Just getting a paycheck here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think whatever Catterall's going to do, he just needs to hurry up and do it, doesn't he? He's so inactive all the time, and he keeps signing up to these different promotional companies. And whenever you see Linares' name, you think, oh yeah, Jorge Linares. And I still think back to that sort of 2008 version or something. But they're billing it off the fact that he's 3-0 in the UK. You know, he beat Kevin Mitchell, beat Crawler twice. But people are forgetting the fact that he's 0-3 in his last 3 fights. I mean,
and he only shoe-shined his way to victory in a couple of those fights.
Exactly. It was even after 10, then he shoe-shined the last 2 rounds. You'll remember that. But this isn't, I don't even think the Linares version that fought Devin Haney, which is some 18 months ago, just goes to show time flies and sort of hurt Haney later on in the fight. He's not even that version. He was outboxing Zora Abdullayev throughout their contest, and he ended up getting stopped in the 12th round, which he tends to do. And then in his last fight, I didn't see it. Well, I don't think I did. He fought this Zora Hamazarian. That's a guy that Linares would have absolutely boxed his ears off in his prime, man. We all know he's got the paper skin, and I just don't know how much he's got to offer anymore at this kind of level. And it's shoddy matchmaking, to be honest. But if Catterall then comes out again the next few months and fights somebody else, or eventually nails down this frigging Taylor fight, which we're going to hear about till the end of time, then I'll say, okay, fair enough, it's a good name, but you just think he's going to get missing for another year.
Yeah, that's a fair chance. Rob, do you think there's anything that says that Jorge Linares has one more left in him?
No,
he's just going to upset the apple cart one last time.
I think his first venture to 140 post Lomachenko, he got stopped after 4 rounds, didn't he?
First round, Pablo Cesar
Cano, that's right. Yeah, first round. Like, I just don't think he has the resistance at this stage of his career. His legs are gone. He's up the weight. I think if Catterall doesn't beat him and look good, it looks bad for Catterall. But it's kind of sad to see Linares go out like this, man. I was such a big fan of Linares. I remember being fucking heartbroken when his face fell apart against DeMarco. Because that would have lined up a big fight between Broner and Linares at 135, which I think would have been a super fight to watch. And everything about Linares' style, I fucking love it. I think he was right in the Lomachenko fight. He was after dropping Lomachenko just up until the point he got stopped. He's a high-level operator in his prime, but his prime is gone, unfortunately. And I think Catterall should be favoured to stop him if Catterall is as good. If he's not just a boogeyman for Josh Taylor's style, or if Josh Taylor's not the slide, we don't really know how good Catterall is. His last victory is against Dara Foley, who's a great talker and a super entertaining club fighter, but that's his limitation. Jack Catterall's last 2 opponents are nothing to write home about when you're fighting this version of Jorge Linares and Dara fucking Super Foley, or the Viper Foley, whatever the fuck he's called. He needs the Taylor fight to get a definitive fucking revenge against Taylor and move on past that. But again, he's with Boxer, isn't he? Like, so he doesn't have a fucking job what he's doing. Mel Shalom, not a clue what he's doing. So I don't know. I think it's sad. From my point of view, it's sad to see Linares go out like this, but fully expect Catterall to get the victory in this situation. If he doesn't, like, he's not what we thought he was, you know, that way.
Absolutely. Because, yeah, this is a very, very diminished version of Jorge Linares. But we'll see if Jorge can turn back the clock just one more time. Doubtfully, though. Doubtfully. Simultaneously, at the O2, going to have a card headlined by the undefeated Dan Aziz against the also undefeated Joshua Buatsi. Also a cruiserweight scrap with Michael Lawal taking on Isaac Chamberlain. Lawal putting his undefeated record on the line, hoping to get the British cruiserweight title in the process. This card, Andy, I don't know. That Aziz Buatsi fight is interesting. Buatsi, fairly strong favorite, not a huge favorite in the fight, but I think Aziz might be the better puncher in the battle.
Yeah, well, possibly. Yeah, I mean, he's got the experience, I suppose, in that as well. He's been on the road, won titles on the road, as well as defending his British. To be fair, mate, if I'm being honest, I think this is the type of fight that could have and should have probably happened for Buatsi at least 4 or 5 fights back. You know, fighting Dan Aziz. Okay, maybe, I don't know, what are you talking? Say 2 or 3 years ago. It just feels like to me that Buatsi is just kind of meandered through the entire career. He's 30 now, and this is him now fighting. I don't know what he's fighting. I don't even think the British title's on the line actually in this fight, or even the European. So I don't know what it is.
It's like the Craig Richards fight, isn't it? It feels like these fights should have been and gone now, and he should be at world level. Sort of.
It really. I mean, Dan Aziz in terms of age, I think what he's achieved so far in his career. I mean, only turned pro back in 2017. 20 fights. He's been British, Commonwealth, and European champion. That is a good career. You know, 34-year-old. You think to yourself, you know, it's going to be hard for him now to try and get over the top at world level. Okay, he fights at middleweight, light heavyweight, so he's not going to get that opportunity. If he'd been at maybe 60, possibly, chances could have come up. But Buatsi, on the other hand, has done zero. Absolute zero. I think he's maybe won the British, possibly, but it was a vacant belt. I forget how far back we're going there, but it was, I don't even think he defended it, to be fair, actually, even if he did win it. And as I say,
him against Richards or something like that?
No, didn't he beat Liam Conroy for the British ages ago?
I can't mind, mate. I can't remember. I
Sure
remember he beat that Reynald Quinlan and Tony Arverlant, I think it was in 1 round. I think those guys are kind of like served as fodder for other people in the past and that as well. He just hasn't done anything. And really, if people can remember him going back to his Olympic days out in Rio, people would have said, look, that guy's style's kind of tailor him in for the pros and that, So, he done well. I think he got a bronze. Had a decent amateur career, but the pro career just hasn't materialised. And as I say, he's 30-year-old now, British champion at one point, didn't even defend the title. It was a vacant title as well. Didn't even beat the champion for it. And this is where he's still kind of frittering about. If he's not fighting Euro bums, he's still kind of on the fringes of kind of fighting domestic level opponents. This is what we're getting again. It's basically what they would say a trade fight, really, because there's nothing else on the line here unless it's getting shadowed as some sort of eliminator of some sort. Maybe a belt will get thrown on the line at some point with WBA later on in the week. Who knows? But again, I just think this fight should have happened, at least a couple of years ago. When it meant something, I suppose.
Potentially so, but hey, it's made. It's on this Saturday. Steve, what are your thoughts on the main event and the undercard?
I think it's a good card, actually. I like it. Michael Hennessy Jr., that's Fat Mick's son. He's fighting on it against Joe Laws. That'll be a war, that will. Hennessy was originally supposed to fight Harley Ben, but Harley Ben pulled out the fight for whatever reason. But I think that'll be a good scrap. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, that'd be a good scrap. Lewis Green, I saw him before against Louis. Did he fight Crocker? I think he fought Lewis Crocker at one point. He might not have done. I might be getting mixed up. He's fighting Sam Gilley. Not too fussed on that one. I know Michael Lawal and Isaac Chamberlain. There's a bit of beef there, a bit of bad blood. This was supposed to happen before, I think, on the Bournemouth card. And Lawal pulled out. One of the chat can maybe correct me if that's not the case. So I think them two will go at it. I don't think they like each other. Conversely, the main event, I think they do like each other. They're actually friends, these two. but they're going to put it aside for one night only. It feels like they've come up through different routes. Aziz has always been talented, but he feels like he's had to graft and grind a little bit to get to those levels, going through the British title. I'm just bringing up his record here. Hosea Burton, Reece Cartwright. Shakan Pitters was a very good win. Pitters is awkward to deal with. Banged out the ghost of Rocky Fielding. He's just grounded away there, got the European title out in France, so he's not afraid to win on the road. And Buatsi, as we said, it feels like Des has said there, a lot of money, a lot of latitude. His management have been a bit icky about putting him in certain fights at certain times. I know he was going to box John Pascal at one point in an eliminator. Pascal went on to lose to that Michael I fought. This is a WBA eliminator, I think, for the right to fight Bivol. Whether they'll actually get that chance or not remains to be seen. But there is some kind of world elimination on the line there. Feels like Aziz is the guy on the way up, and he's the guy with the momentum, and is the person I'd like to see win the fight. I think it'd be good for boxing. But that said, I fancy Buatsi actually to win it. I would like to see Aziz do it, but I think Buatsi will just be able to catch him at the right times and have that little bit of skill and punch picking precision. A little bit of alliteration for you there. I think Buatsi will get the job done, but it just feels like Aziz, it's now or never for him with that momentum, and they are kind of going in different directions. But I think Buatsi's just shown that he can get the job done when it really matters. And at the end of the day, for whatever we say about him not reaching world level at whatever time, he is a skilled operator. And when he puts his punches together, he does look nice. And he showed toughness against Craig Richards. He could have folded at different times in that fight, and he didn't. So Aziz is going to put it on him, though. If he's not 100%, Aziz will win this fight. And all round, I think it's a decent card. I'd rather watch this than the DAZN one anyway.
Yeah, potentially so. And I haven't seen that this is any US TV for this one. This is a card I would have preferred to watch myself. Rob, even though Steve is going the direction of Buatsi, I think the interesting point he made there, Aziz coming in as the underdog. You got one guy who has kind of had the red carpet laid out and had the easier path, and another guy who has to grind. It just might kind of be one of those silk pajama moments here for Mr. Buatsi. That's just my hunch.
I mean, yeah, but this fight, right, is on Boxer. It's the kind of remnants of the legacy of Eddie Hearn. So it's Boxer have all the fighters that basically Eddie released because he didn't see any commercial value in them. But as much pelters as we give Hearn, if Hearn was promoting this and he had it on Sky, he would have these two on absolutely every single Sky outlet, Sky Sports outlet possible. He'd have him on daytime. He'd have him on Sky Sports News. He'd have him head-to-head. There'd be a press conference. Ben Shalom don't know what the fuck he's doing because nobody knows this fucking fight is happening. No doubt. Like, if Eddie had two British fighters under the Sky banner, he would be using his platform to promote an all-British clash rather. But nobody knows this fucking fight is taking place. I think these two have even fought, haven't they? Had a couple of shots at each other at an event. Or maybe not. I don't know. I can't fucking keep up. But Buatsi, good fighter, no personality, no draw, no appeal as a wider star. Aziz probably could be that, but hasn't had the same exposure. Aziz could probably, if he knocked out Buatsi, could probably do something in terms of a breakout star. But in terms of Ben Shalom, I think it speaks more to the fact that Ben Shalom and Boxer are not really seizing the moment on Sky, or they're not utilizing Sky. Okay, he hasn't got the fighters. He's made a couple of terrible investments in terms of Joe Parker, signs Joe Parker to go cross promotion and then gets him beat. Just really blundering the whole thing. And it's a fight probably no one's going to watch. And I think it's going to be a bit of a stinker as well, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be a good fight. So I could be with you on that. I think it's a fight Aziz could win, but I'd probably tip Buatsi points in a fucking stinker.
Matty, it's funny you mentioned silk pajamas, actually, the reference, because Aziz is very much a throwback kind of fighter. He has that sort of haggler vibe about him. He even has the old school shorts and all that, and he's done things the hard way. So I thought that was quite an apt reference from you.
And most of it was by accident. So, happenstance. Thank you. I'd rather be lucky than good, Steve. So yeah, hopefully there's some US outlet for that one. I would like to watch those at least those two main fights. I think that's a solid fare right there. Andy, did you get your point in on that one? I can't recall.
Oh, what was that, mate?
The Aziz Buatsi fight.
Yeah, I spoke about it, mate. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Right on. So actually, I think Steve, I think we might be ready for the Belly of the Week.
The Belly of the Week. Are we ready for the Belly of the Week? Am I ready for the Belly?
Are
of the
you?
Week? Question. I don't know. I'm flapping as best as I can here. I thought I had a video set up for it, but maybe I don't. I'll just upload it very quickly. What episode are you on? Episode 544. Do the spiel to get us going. Matty's hosting tonight, doing a great job as always. Thank you, Matty. Andy's here. Rapping Rob Kelly's here as well.
All night as well. By the
all
way.
night. Doing well.
Might I add?
I know.
I had to laugh, by the way, when Dom was fucking deputizing for me, and he's like, "Oh, how I got the same humor there as Rob," and Steve was like, "You're early as well."
Thought I'd leave a little Easter egg for you, Rob. You know,
oh, bastard! I was cracking up laughing. Man, fuck's sake.
Brutalmente honesto. Eddie might have ditched Coogan these days, but he has a new pal from Boxing Social. The Nutters group were making me aware of this one and put the video in. I don't watch Boxing Social myself, I must confess, but this Charlie Parsons seems like quite the character, and he has a brilliant banterful rapport going on with Eddie. Let's have a listen.
Wagwan General.
You what? You twat?
Wagwan General.
Wagwan General.
How are you, Sean?
Yeah, I'm good, Sean. Yeah. How are you? Because I saw you at the party last night. I mean, there's a few things I got to talk to you about. Generally embarrassing behaviour all the way round. And then you get a picture with, was it the Forged Irish Stout promo girls? And you're on tiptoes in the picture. You can see it, Alex Haynes' you can repost it when you see it. I mean, embarrassing behaviour. Embrace your height. You know, once again, underage drinking in these pubs.
Underage drinking?
Yes. How old are you?
20.
Come on, bro. We're not talking about the fake ID. You know, but I think that to see a 14-year-old out thriving, you know, I think it's just a paparazzi.
No paps today.
You could. He's actually channeling that moment. He was actually bullying. What's up with the car again?
Jody Miles.
Jody Miles.
Jody Miles, brother.
Right.
This is the Harry Mullen lineage, Andy. This is where it's ended.
Who's that weirdo?
This kid's got nothing about him, by the way, this Parsons, because who's taking abuse from a 45-year-old in a velour tracksuit? Give me a fucking break, man, will you? Like fucking J-Lo in the fucking, what's it called, 2002.
And a fucking
hairpiece. From the fucking block. What's he wearing?
Are we not 45-years giving out abuse?
Yeah, but I'm not wearing a velour tracksuit when I'm doing it, you know what I mean? Not that I wouldn't, like, but...
You got hair plugs on, Steve?
No.
Fucking looks like he raided fucking Tulisa from N-Dubs' fucking wardrobe there when he's slagging off Parsons evening eight.
More chance of a Bobby Charlton comb over than hair plugs, Andy, I think, for me.
Just shave it off, mate, like me.
Oh, dear.
The only time you feel pain is the winter time, mate. You got to put a hat on. It's fucking annoying.
Oh, well, let's get on with them, shall we? We have another video coming up a little bit later on. DAZN announced star-studded talent lineup for exclusive X-Series 10 live shows. Let's have a look who's on the star-studded talent lineup. We have Ariel Helwani. I think he's an MMA guy. Todd Grisham, not really star-studded. See him every week. Adi Odalipo, well, they spelt his surname wrong, so he can't be that much star-studded. Idris Virgo threw water over a journeyman once. And the coach, and Olivia Bozuglo, Matty. Never heard of the last two. What's your feeling on the old star-studded?
Days, you know?
No idea.
I thought when somebody said Ariel Haiwani, I thought that it was a Japanese mermaid.
Probably have a better chance of watching this if it was.
Yeah, I'm not impressed. I do like.
He's creeping his way into boxing gradually, isn't he, Ariel Helwani? Like he's fucking MMA guy for the last 15 years. He's stepping his toe in our fucking. He's probably trying to get some more MMA eyes on the sport. That's just all we need.
He's got his own show on that these days on ESPN, you know, or something like that.
Olivia Bull. We need to find out more of this one story. What's her crack here?
Olivia Bozuglo.
Let's fucking find out. Let's not dismiss her straight away.
No, apparently she likes to smoke pot and has a thing for Irishmen, Rob. I just.
Oh. She's a Sky Sports presenter.
Get her away from me.
Yeah. Misfits. Oh, she's involved in the Misfits boxing scene, according to my Googling here.
Well, that's a non-starter.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get rid of her then. Talking of Misfits boxing, here he is. KSI did not flinch. John Fury hasn't thrown a punch in 20 years. He has now, Andy. He's thrown a punch at some perspex.
Did he not even bury his arse at one point in that as well? That's how embarrassing it's got, mate.
Did you see it? Did you see it?
Did you see him actually between him battering on the glass like absolute Neds? It was like all it needed was a gang of folk in there. It looked like some fucking away game, fucking hooligans going into a game, smashed on the fence, like, come on, you bastards. You know what I'm saying?
It looked, in fairness, John Fury gave a better performance against KSI than Tommy Fury by the fucking sounds of it. Majority decision. Fuck my life, man.
Imagine John Fury was your actual dad away. You would be embarrassed.
You'd be rich anyway.
Yeah. You'd be rich. Man, you'd rather be homeless.
He is an embarrassment.
Man.
People said he's trying to take the spotlight off. He's trying to take the spotlight off Tommy Fury. Fuck me. He's an absolute egomaniac.
Oh, mate, it's just ego. That's what it is, mate. I mean, when they first came out on the scene, when they got out of jail and that, he was meant to be one of these guys that kept it real with us, not behind. Now he's out there acting like fucking your dad's been on like 16 pints and wants to start fucking something in the street. What's going on here? And he's expecting like all his young pals to fucking dig him out when the shit hits the fan.
He's a narcissist. One day it's going to go down though, and he's going to have a fight. Somebody's going to whack him, I think.
Who was that again? That
Or take his eye.
Who was that again? That he went all quiet when they appeared on his face. Who was it?
Porky's mate, wasn't it? I can't remember.
No.
Weightlifter. No. Oh no, Dillian White called him out the once, didn't they?
Is that who it was? Dillian White? Aye.
Let's see as he is animated when fucking Mike Tyson is training Francis Ngannou in a couple of weeks there. Let's see as he fucking as eager to fucking kick off there.
Aye, Mike will be throwing in your hands, no problem still.
Final.
Embarrassing dads. There's one for you, Rob. Here he is. All I want for Bosch, Mus. He's Chinese.
We haven't even had fucking Halloween yet, and this horror show's popping up with fucking Christmas. Look at him. The ghost of Christmas past. Well, look, enjoy Christmas, man. Because, you know,
you should actually go to China. You should actually go to China and eat some proper Chinese food. Stuff that's just been caught on the street and cooked right in front of you. You know what I'm saying?
Has he ever considered there are only so many sheep in this world and he's using more than his share?
He's loving life. Matty, leave him alone.
Something.
He's doing his best, isn't he? Doing his best, he's Big John. Anyway, let's move on. Oscar De La Hoya.
He's got the Bosch Dom on as well at the same time. You just can't see it in that picture. He's wearing the Bosch Dom as well for Christmas. Christmas crackers.
What flavour do you think that Bosch Dom is?
It's
fried rice.
Sweet chili chicken. Prawn bowls. Chicken bowls. Big bowls.
Prawn bowls. King's Beck's bowls. Golden bowls.
Here, Andy.
Yeah.
You were shitting on the DAZN show last night, but one man who was enjoying it at 11:10 was Oscar. He said, watching the DAZN YouTube fight, and it is high-level technical boxing at its finest. Let's go. There's someone trying to keep his contract.
No, well, there's 11:10 at night, mate. We came what happens at 11:10 at night. That's when, don't we? That's when we're kind of like needing the toilet at that point. If they're about 6 pints, then like, we snuff a powder there.
Chalk everywhere.
Aye, chalk and cheese everywhere, mate. Fucking hell.
11:10 in Oscar's house just sounds like this.
And as soon as that first line hit, mate, that's when my avatar picture comes into effect here. See it? That gurning motherfucker.
Oh dear.
11:10 at Oscar's house means that you've used 3/4 of an ounce up.
Oh, he's enjoying it. I know it's not
That
Belly of the
was
Week.
drug math.
Oh, well done, Matty. For
Thank
a bit
you.
of drug math. I know it's not Belly of the Week.
11:10, you're just sitting in the fucking jacuzzi like Scarface looking at the Pelicans like, don't talk to me about that trust shit. I don't like it. Who put this thing together? Me. That's who.
That's what happens when you miss his sniffing gear off your arsehole.
Brutalmente.
Oh, well done, Kenny. Well done, Kenny.
Oh, brilliant. That definitely happened as well. That's fucking inside info.
What's that? Oh, aye, without doubt, mate.
You see Chase Athletics one there? Do you remember when he was at the Triller event? That was the worst I ever saw. Do you remember when they had him on the mic?
Oh, aye. Mike Tyson, I love you.
He even brought Triller into disrepute.
Yeah. Fucking tremendous, that one, man.
MMA on MDMA. What a time.
I mean, listen, if any of you have not seen that Golden Boy documentary, that the two-parter on
Yeah.
HBO came out, you need to watch it. Holy shit, man.
It's dark as fuck, man. Anyway,
It's-
I was depressed as hell after I watched that, man.
Oh, mate, see, about halfway through the first one, I feel sorry for him at one point. I was like, fucking hell. Poor bastard.
He was a shithouse, wasn't he, man, in the second one?
what?
My God.
Fucking hell, man. He strung the bitches along, didn't he?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Go easy
You
on
see,
me.
apparently, he got one of them pregnant, right? And then he got asked the question. This like happens like 6 months ago, or whatever it was. That he got asked the question, something along the lines. He says, "Do you not remember the instant?" He's like, "Nah, I slept with about 500 by that point." 6 months.
Come on, Oscar. Come on. Undefeated. That's the Oscar fucking De La Hoya blueprint that we all want. Fuck the Mayweather one.
That's almost 3 a day. That's in 6 months.
Can you imagine it? Dane Lines and Dane Broads, man. Fucking Jesus.
That reminds me. I'm not
506 months.
I'm not going to name the guy, obviously, but I was talking to a lad I know, put it that way. And he told me one time, he said he had been set to go on a date and the girl didn't turn up for the date. And I was like, well, I fucking told you that was going to happen or whatever. Like, and he was like, well, it doesn't matter because I slept with 3 ones yesterday. And I goes, 3 birds yesterday you slept with. How many did you pay for? And he was like, 3.
Nico Thompson came out a good one there. Having kids for fun while being a multi-division champ, easy work. True. And the thing is, Tate, can you imagine, see if he took that shit seriously, man? What would he really have done?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, think about it. He could have maintained the weight, doing it the lower weight classes for a bit longer, possibly. You know
sometimes I think God just does that shit. It's like Maradona with the cocaine, isn't it? Like the most fucking talented fucking soccer player of all time. But just settle down, have this cocaine. Don't be too good. Like just you know what I mean?
Chill out a bit, boy.
Whip you back in line. Exactly. No, he was the ultimate professional in the ring. I think we can all agree on that. Talking of professionals in the ring, there's the guard talking to Eddie, and Eddie had some shock news over the weekend. Andy, AJ versus Wilder. I feel this is going to be an on-running theme.
Off.
Could be March.
March,
a hope for
what
you.
March, show? What March we talking about? 2026?
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't been too specific there. Like,
exactly. He hasn't dropped the year in there, has he? Fucking. Where the Bush is this meant to be getting held? Is the Saudis back interested again? Because remember they had an offer, but didn't they get a contract? Yeah, Saudi season or Riyadh season's coming up soon. Yeah,
well, look, don't be too downhearted because I hear from the same guy that's saying that this fight might happen in March that Conor Benn versus Eubank will 100% happen this year. So that'll make up for the fucking disappointment of not seeing Wilder Joshua. Everyone.
Conor Benn, man, I mean, they're really desperate to get him out in that big mega fight soon because he's got to earn that money for the pay off those lawyers. You know,
same day as Fury Usyk, as the comment says there, Andy. Tony Bellew will finally be left alone watching Eubank versus Benn.
Yeah, we know.
See what?
The last fucking Eubank fight. Panelists to get the
seriously, they put it on the same day as the Usyk Tyson fight.
Well, that's what they're talking about, isn't it? It's
no chance, man. What are you talking? They can't even do that.
No.
Fucking. I mean, seriously.
Liam Wynn found that one.
Look at him, fucking Ice Spice's tracksuit on him. Look at him. Fucking hop on, man.
Trotters independent traders.
Oh dear, we love Eddie. Lee Wiley boxing.
Danny Young said Gene Wilder. Well, we hear no evil, see no evil till match.
Chris Lloyd talking about the feet adjustment after the first shots landed. Lee Wiley boxing going back last week to Lee Wood's knockout to Josh Warrington. Lee Wiley responded, Rob, Marquez-esque, one of the best finishers in the game. It's Lee Wood, unrivaled analysis.
Would you piss off? He hit him fucking by accident. He walked off. Fuck off for you. Marquez says, good knockout, no, but give me a fucking break, man. Jesus.
Oh dear. What else have we got on the go here? We did have an Isaac one. Here's a fight we can all get behind. Red Ground Productions. People said Triller was dead. It isn't. Rumble in the Sun. Razor Ruddock versus James Toney, plus a performance by Beanie Man.
It's the Jamaica in Jamaica, Steve.
In Kingston, Jamaica. David Roddigan's doing a fucking dog play warm-up beforehand.
I mean, you were literally fighting every month. before you fought Joe Frazier in Kingston, Jamaica?
Jesus Christ! Good luck to the fucking whoever the equivalent of Ariel Hawani is, who's going to be covering this in Jamaica when you got a fucking transcribed dialogue from Donovan Razor Ruddock's 60-year-old Jamaican patois and James Tony's Michigan fucking CTE slur. This is going to be fucking high level shit before they even get in the ring. I'm more excited about Beanie Man, to be honest with you. Zim Zimmer, who's got the keys to my Beamer?
I'm telling
Just
you,
need Riddick Bowe, Andy, on the event.
Riddick Bowe, mate. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ, I don't think there's going to be fucking many white men going to that fucking one coming out in one piece.
Just me, me and Dave Rodigan. That's this.
Can you imagine the press conference with these two trying to put a sentence together?
It's going to be like listening to two people who just underwent dental surgery.
James Tony's going to need someone to fucking interpret sign language for him actually at one point.
Oh, looking forward to seeing that one. What else have we got here? Oh, Boo Boo. Mentioned him earlier. Canelo. This is a real fight. We're not sitting here waiting for him. There you are. That's Canelo told.
Demetrius Andre there telling you what he wants, what he really wants.
When I look at that picture, I feel like he's telling me that the white man is the devil.
He's telling you, we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Oh dear! I haven't
been hoodwinked.
It's Spencer. What do you call him again? Not Spencer Fearon. Spencer Oliver. Spencer Oliver making a prediction. Matty. Now let's have a listen to what Spencer thinks the misfit fight was going to go down last night. A really solid prediction here.
Well, listen, whatever way this contest goes, one way or the other, you can't argue it. It is one of those. A draw would be a fair result.
Yeah, that's that sorted then, Matty. Get your betting down on Spencer's advice.
All right then.
One guy's going to win, or it's going to be a draw. I think is what he's trying to say.
Was that before the fight?
Yeah, who knows? With the betting lines these days, you wouldn't know, Matty. You wouldn't know. Right, I've got one more for you. I was at this fight. Fight off. Didn't happen, as I mentioned earlier. Schedule B UI welterweight title fight was off between Declan Geraghty and Owen O'Neill. That's okay, you might think. Geraghty weighed in at 146.4 under the 147-pound limit. O'Neill, Andy, just couldn't quite strip off those last few 10 pounds.
No.
Touch and go there, wasn't it?
It fucking was. Jesus Christ. 10 pounds overweight. I mean, he had to know within Monday that he wasn't going to make it, surely. I mean, he's going to crash the weight badly and then look like shit. Or he's just thought, fuck it, I'm not going to do it. That's clearly that's just what he thought. Fuck it, I'm not going to do it. Grace, £10, man. That's just fucking. There's no excuse for that. You got one job. You got two jobs.
You gotta cut £10 nice and easy. It can't be fucking.
Well, you should get Tony in and get him sorted out.
Fuck is Declan Geraghty headlining the Clash in fucking 2023? By the way, what's going on? What in the fucking money laundering is fucking happening here? Jesus Christ, he's had his chance, hasn't he?
Who the fuck is Declan Geraghty?
Declan Geraghty was a highly touted Irish amateur who
he was brilliant. Yeah.
Just fell to fucking shit when he got to the pros. John O'Carroll fucking handed him his first pro loss, didn't he? And then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
He was boxing really well. Who was he boxing really well against? Archie Sharp, wasn't he? He was boxing.
Yeah, Archie Sharp. Tennis, and he was doing okay as well against.
Yeah, good fighter, but no chin.
Yep.
I sense a hint of sadness in Rob's voice.
No, he was very talented amateur.
Nah, he seems like a dick. I don't give a fuck about shit about him.
Poor Owen O'Neill, though, Andy, not as bad as Hayden H-Bomb Wright, who once missed the weight by 42 pounds.
42 or 50 pounds, whatever it was. It was something ridiculous. It's up like 6 months as well for a training camp. Still couldn't make the weight.
Well, when you hit 40, Andy, you know it's just tougher to get that.
Yeah, I mean, the motivation just isn't there anymore, mate. Once you get over 40, now you're like, listen, I'm happy with my lot these days. Now all the rest of my laurels, no problem. But £50, rest on the £50, man, fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's why I kind of got to give it to Curtis Harper. He was in Hawaii when he took this fight. He didn't spar, didn't train for anything. He went the distance with Vianello. He's just this fat guy, and he just takes fights here and there, and he doesn't really do anything. It's not a bad life, Steve. It could be worse.
He has some making up to do, though.
He's
Remember
getting
the fight he never took when he walked out against the Jagba?
Yeah, they didn't pay him enough. Not enough to get to Hawaii, I think.
Okay. Good luck to her, Curtis Harper. Right. That's all the ones I've got, Matthew. Do you have anything to throw into the pot?
No, I don't think I do this week.
Oh, nothing from Matty. Nothing from Oz. Anything from you, Andy?
Yeah, that's pretty much like Oz this week, mate. Nothing for me, really. Maybe just that shambles. It was a main event on that Misfit card, I suppose. But I was going to pick out that one that you'd done about the weight. That's all I've got, really.
Super job. Rob, anything from you, please?
Yeah, it's got to be the fucking Tommy Fury fucking controversial win over YouTuber KSI. Like, fucking, I think it was a 6-round fight. Tommy has a point deducted, a draw on one card, and he wins 57-56 on the other card. And then he says, "Go back to YouTube, you bum." Afterwards, you know, the king of self-awareness, Tommy Fury, and John as well, for his fucking...
Go back to YouTube, you bum. I'm a fighting man.
Look me in the eye, he says to KSI. Look me in the eye. So hopefully he continues that form, as I said, when he meets Mike Tyson, and see where that progresses for him. Like, that'd be, imagine fucking in Riyadh season, Mike Tyson just fucking throws like one of his fucking Jose Rabalte combinations to John Fury, right hook to the body, rips him with the uppercut like off the fucking stage. Wouldn't that be amazing? Like, that would have been the fucking Saudi money we wanted to see it invested properly.
That's a wet dream, mate. That's a wet dream, for fuck's sake, man.
Well, I'm hoping it happens. Let's not rule it out. Like, it could happen, but something tells me John Fury has more fucking sense than that. Like,
I'll tell you what, John Fury ain't bare no ass in Saudi Arabia, and I can guarantee you that much, or he's getting stoned to death.
Well,
aren't we all?
Right, so let's go through them very quickly then. We had Eddie and his mate Nicholas Parsons. We had Spencer Oliver making his prediction. We had the star-studded lineup, that is the zone. We had John versus the Perspex sheet. We had John versus obesity. We had Oscar Del cutting 10 pens, nice and easy. We had the Garden Eddie confirming the big fight is on. Tony Bellew as well getting thrown in there. Eddie the Tit. We had E. Wiley boxing with his unrivaled analysis. Unrivaled analysis of Ruddock versus Tony. Who speaks first? We got Andre getting nominated as well, and Owen O'Neill cutting the weight at the last minute. Who are you going for this week, Matty?
I think that I'm going to have to go for the Tony Ruddock fight, man. That is just a cluster of epic proportions.
How old is Razor Ruddock, by the way? He's got to be nearly 60, hasn't he? Like,
he's got to be 60, you would imagine.
Well, hold on, let's find this out. Razor.
He is 59. He's 60 just a few weeks after this fight. This could be his birthday present.
And Tony is what,
55? The hospital, fucking hell.
Tony is 55 going on 80. So it should be good. Like, I think it's going to be a good fight.
At least they're evenly matched.
It's going to be bad, isn't it, this?
Mike McCallum's fighting the whole lineup from Musical Youth on the undercard.
I'm going to watch this. I can't wait for this. I don't know, just for the crack in it. It's going to be good.
Well, I suppose. I'm siding with Matty there as well, actually. I was going to go with Declan Geraghty, but I remembered about this. There's no good can come about this, by the way. Seriously. I'm going to go one better and say this doesn't even happen. Beanie Man.
Yes, good point. We've heard of these before.
If there is anyone with a fucking soul involved in this event, it will not happen.
Danny Young says, "Can we get Chakademus and players on the undercard?"
Rumble in the sun. I mean, fucking hell.
Where's Bitcoin Rodney? He'd be all over something like this, wouldn't he?
I'm going to see who this Beanie Man is, actually.
I remember the song.
We're doing, for fuck's sake. The girl's name Sugar is Beanie Man.
Oh, I remember Beanie Man. He was the BMW, yeah. Is that what you're going for then, Andy?
Here it is, Beanie Man from Kingston, Jamaica. 50-year-old Moses Anthony Davis is his real name.
Younger than the main eventers, anyway.
He's got loads of legal issues in that as well.
Yeah, you'd probably change your name.
In fairness, they just probably shouldn't be on a promotion together in 2023. You know what I mean?
Well, he's
not
got
taken away from the legend.
He's got some anti-gay lyrics in that as well. That will go down well. James Toney will be shouting about them as well. So if he can slum them out, I suppose.
You know, Rob, with the concept of infinite timelines, in one of these timelines, Ruddock is fighting Beanie Man with a performance by James Toney.
Doing Beanie Man's classics, I'd watch it. Like it was sad enough for me to see James Toney lose to that fucking shit heap on Prize Fighter.
Oh yeah.
It was equally sad to see him kind of go out on ES News's Apex when he used to be like providing sound bites for Ellie, calling David Hay, David Gay, and the Bitchko sisters, and I couldn't understand them. You know, they had to have the fucking closed captions to find out what he's saying. That was sad enough, but I think this is fucking really just too much for me to take. It's just like fucking put him down at this stage, man. Just fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
Rob, I don't think the photo on the poster is a true representation of current Tony either, to be honest with you.
Looks like they just snapped. He looks like he's in good shape for the fight.
Yeah. There's a bit of artistic liberty going on there, I think, with that photograph.
Well, they're after fucking dyeing Ruddock's hair back black, so fucking might as well go crazy, you know what I mean?
Right, who are you going for, Rob?
Yeah, it's got to be the Jamaican fucking Jamrock. Welcome to Jamrock.
Oh, congratulations, boys. Razor Ruddock and James Toney rumble in the sun with Beanie Man as well. You are the Value of the Week winners for episode 544. And just before I hand back to Matty, I had something else to say. Did I? Yes, David has returned to us on patreon.com/Boxing Asylum. Shout out to him. And also, it was remiss of me last week not to mention Damo, who just threw in 50 quid, you know, and I forgot to give him a shout out for his super chat at the end of last week's show. So thank you very much.
Fucking nothing in the kitty this week. Fuck's sake. Admin. Jesus.
Where are you this week, Damo? Thanks very much for that £50. Back to you, Butter.
You lost all your winnings at the fucking internationals this week.
Yeah, Damo with a good win. We'll see who takes this season of the Boxing Nutters Prediction League. Looking forward to another one. It's been a good show. Has been a good, interesting week. And I have some cool fights to preview next week. There's an interesting one that's going to be happening. God damn it, now I forgot. Well, never mind then. But anyhow. It's Shaqy Foster versus Hernandez. Yes, that one. Sneaky good mesh of styles. Looking forward to that one. Week from Saturday. We'll be back here next week to discuss that and more. Steve in the hot seat. I've been your host this week, Matt DiGiorno. I would like to thank Andy Patterson, Rob Kelly, Steve Wellings, and also our good friend Ames coming on to talk about the Misfits bullshit as well. Someone had to watch it. Thanks for taking one for the team, buddy. You folks have a fantastic week ahead, and we will see you next week.
We'll never forget.
I think that's good.
Go to move! We want to be honest, yeah?
Crying like a little bitch. I've never met a fucking swank that can fight me.
I fell asleep.
You're a fucking bum, you're a fucking asshole.
Grumpo fucking Steltskin.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
7 year ain't. I will fucking smash fucking you.
I hope you fucking die.
Be safe.
I love Boxing Asylum. It's as simple as that.